los indios nativos somos los verdaderos israelitas.
¿Esto dónde lo dice según el registro?
Esto dice en la Biblia.
Show that Puerto Ricans love America, but that ain't reality.
Police attack was planned beforehand. Only white cops were assigned.
Then our only recourse is to defend ourselves.
We tried to move people onto the sidewalks, but the police were all out for blood.
Another series of protests was staged by thousands of students, parents, and the Brown Berets. In June 1968, the group that had become known as the East LA 13 was released on bail.
Demonstrate to our people and we deserve better and that we could, get better.
I don't think there's ever been a time when we need more of the spirit of the young lords than today.
I guess we had no fear. We just did what we think, what we thought at the time was the right thing to do.
National captain of the Black Panther Party. They are making it their business to process arresting me and my wife, to a process of arresting numerous Panthers on the block.
Police just went in and started beating them viciously. It was ugly. They were just yelling at us, you dirty spicks, dirty Mexicans, who do you think you are?
All right, Shalom Israel, Yahweh Shemi Al-Shabbat. That was Cousin God 1000 of ISUPK coming out of California. And today we have in-house today with the Inconvenient Truth. We got General Mayak, 12,000 Shield. What is that? 12 Shield General. General Mayak, welcome to our show, General. The water for being on with us, sir.
No sweat. The water for having me. Shalom.
Most High in Christ, sir. Most High in Christ. We're going to give it just a second to get started here. We got a great show prepared for you today. Divided and Conquered. Our show is we're going to go based on, the problems that Israel has, why we so separated, why it is that we have been, separated as a nation. We can go way back to the times of biblical times, looking at the book of Kings, and we can kind of get an idea of how far it's been since we've been having these issues between, Israel, Judah, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, Blacks, Native American Indians, because it's something that we've been going through. And the truth is that when we see this happening, and when our enemies see this happening, we can see how they know that it's time to take advantage of us. It's time to bring war to us, because when we're weakest is when we're fighting each other. What do you think about that, General Mayak?
Khan, you're absolutely right. The Most High, of course, he wanted Israel to be together. You know what I'm saying? He told us we were holy. We were a holy people, which means separate from all the other people outside of us, but together amongst us. You understand? But again, like you said, starting in biblical times, in ancient days, all the way up until now, our enemies and our oppressor have caused us to divide amongst each other and actually gather together with outsiders. The opposite of what the Most High wanted. I can't hear you.
All right, absolutely. And one of the things that we got to understand is sometimes for us to come together, we have to first understand our history. We first have to understand why we are the way we are. When we begin to understand why we're so separated, when we begin to understand and see the reason why we are the way we are, then we can fix our problem. In our time, Most High in Christ, for Commanding General Yohanan and all the generals who have stood the test of time in the ISUPK and all the troubles that come with it, right? And have been able to maintain themselves here so that in our time, which is the appointed time that we stand in today, we are able to now understand the problem. And with the education that we're receiving in the ISUPK, we can now begin to solve the problem that we have of separation and why we are, going through these problems, and also be able to overcome not only our oppressor, but the troubles between us ourselves. And we might be able to mend them and bring ourselves together. But the most important part first is coming together. Ain't that right, Mayak?
That's right, brother. That's right. That's the most important thing. And once again, ISUBK, we founded on that brotherhood, that togetherness, that family. Because without each other, without this family, we have nothing. You understand? Many of the tribes, many groups have tried to come together. They have tried to do good things. They generally love their people. The tribes generally loved our people, blacks, Hispanics, the Gadites, the North American Indians. We loved each other, and we tried to do things in this hell, this oppression, to bring us together and to unify the community. But because we never did it the way God said to do it, because we never did it under His authority and obeying Him, it never worked out. It never worked out, which leaves a good point to where when we get separated and we don't have the Lord's protection, you understand, as Israelites, then our enemies can divide and conquer us,
Khan, absolutely. And what we're out to do is bring our nation back together, bring Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians back together again. And how are we going to do it? We're going to re-educate ourselves. This is the place to do it. What better place than where Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians can get together, right?
Yep.
And what it is that we all have something in common. We've all been oppressed and by the same enemy. So with that, now we can understand, little by little, we can begin to understand where it is that we're going to make the change. And the first part in making a change is understanding. So today, we're going to get some understanding. We're going to get some understanding of where this all started. And General Mayak, I want to start with the biblical point of where it is that we began to see separation within ourselves. It might not be the exact place, but if we go into the Bible, which is our oldest history for Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, we can begin to understand, what the problem is and what we have to do to bring ourselves together. Go ahead, General.
Khan. Right, like we discussed earlier, like you said in the Book of Kings, you brought up the Book of Kings, when the Lord, put Solomon in charge of the nation, you understand, Solomon began to drift away from the Most High and be disobedient to the Most High. And again, that's the first cause of all our problems, our disobedience. When we disobey the Most High, boy, He turns His back on us. You understand? Psalms 104, the Lord say, He hideth his face, and we are troubled. We die and return to our dust. Because when He hide His face, what does that mean? He turned His back to you. And when the Most High, our God, turned His back to us, boy, our enemies, they have a field day. So once again, when Solomon was in charge of the nation, the Lord was angry with Solomon because he had strange wives and he worshiped their gods, which is the first commandment in the Bible. The first commandment of God is have no other God before me. Don't give nothing power above me. And Solomon, he went and experimented and worshiped other gods of his strange wives, you understand, which pissed the Most High off, you understand? And the Most High sent the prophet and decided He was going to raise up, He was going to destroy the nation. He was going to divide us into what now today we call the Hispanic and Indian tribes against the so-called Negro tribes. He threatened to separate the nation. Go ahead.
So here we start to see the separation between Israel and Judah. And we all know that Judah is I'm going to say, is the strongest of the tribes. And perhaps that's why the Lord gave Judah the power over, all of our tribes, because we see that Christ comes from Judah, and Christ was a powerful man. And in His time, He was able to speak and people listened. So when we see the power that Judah has, we begin to understand why the Lord chose him. But that doesn't put any of us any lower, because, when we go into 2 Kings, also, we see that it says that Issachar and his first son, Tola, were valiant men of might in all their generations.
For sure.
So we understand that also we're given the same. It's just that, you know, there's always someone to lead, and it's order. It's rank and order. And it's given to us to follow and serve under those that take the lead. Ain't that right, Arwan?
Well, you're correct. You're correct. I can't say, being a Judite, I can't say we're the strongest tribe. You understand? Now, of course, our king came out of Judah. You understand? Our king came out of Judah, and it said the lawgiver won't depart from between his feet. You understand? So he's the top king, the top judge, the top lawgiver, and he's from the tribe of Judah. But these other tribes, you know, once upon a time, Judah thought they were better than the other tribe. And then Judah sinned against the Lord just as bad. So the Lord punished us all the same way. You understand? So I can't say we stronger, you understand, but our king does come out of Judah. You understand? And like you brought out, Issachar, Ephraim, you know what I'm saying? Gad, you had some warriors in them scriptures, man, that was just as strong. You understand?
God said, you know, our Father, the Most High, is a man of war.
God.
So, of course, then all of us would come from the same lineage of men of war. That's why we all tend to be the same, you know, because we all come from men of war. And as we see what happened in those days when Judah and Israel separated, for whatever reason they might have done, you know, when you really go into that story of 2 Kings, you start to hear kind of like on some of those brothers, how could I say, like trying to take advantage of what they have, perhaps their rank, perhaps their power, perhaps the state that they're in. They wanted to take advantage of that. And that's kind of like a prideful type thing comes in. So when you start seeing this prideful type in, then you start seeing how we really relate to the 12 tribes, how us Mexicans, we prideful too. Judites are prideful too. And you Native American Indians, Puerto Ricans, we're prideful too. I can see it sometimes when we watch boxing matches. You know what I'm saying? When I'm seeing Puerto Rico against Mexicans in the ring, we start to see the pridefulness that comes out of us, how we want ours to be better, how we want, you know, Mexicans, when they see a Mexican guy go up and fight a Puerto Rican guy, well, we're rooting for the Mexican all the time, you know. And then when the Puerto Rican go up and fight with a black brother, now we're rooting for the Puerto Rican brother. And then when we see a Dominican and so on and so forth, we tend to do that. And then when we see, like in the MMA now, when we see an Asian coming up against Mexican, oh man, we all for the Mexican people. So, you know, we tend to take sides always with our people, but at the same time, we got that power of pride. What would you say about that, Arwan?
You're absolutely right. We're very tribal. You understand? We're very tribal. And of course, when you're not in the ISUPK, in the world, you look at, you know, like the example you gave, the boxing matches, and you're going to stick to yours. You understand? Like, you know, before the UPK, you know, we didn't even know, you know, that these were our people. You understand? So we root for Judites. You know, so now even in the truth, you know, I hate to see brothers fighting each other, but now brothers understand they both our family. So a lot of times they go with, you know, who they think is the best now. You understand? But we're very tribal people, like you saying.
Concept. But even though we're tribal, you know, and this is the point we're making today, divided and conquered, is because even though we tribal, we still, like, we so, how could I want to say ignorant when it comes to tribalism, because now we flash over to our time and we can see how a goddamn city block or a street or a color makes you tribalist over a gang or over a street or over a block or something. You know, now we're becoming tribalists for nonsense, things that aren't even ours, not even our possessions. Like that street, that block for the Hispanic brothers, man, that's not even your block. That's not even your street, you know, and you over here killing your own brother for tagging on your wall or throwing up his, what we call a placazo, which is our block, you know, 18th Street or 14th Street, whatever it may be. We're over here crossing out another brother and causing, you know, a war between us. And it's a gang war for a block. The blocks don't even belong to us. Go ahead, Arwan.
You're absolutely right. You know, we lose our lives over things that is not even ours. Like you're saying, you know, we brothers can't even stand on a corner. You understand? Judites, They don't even want to see you on a corner that they claim to be theirs. Everything from here to here is mine. You on it without my permission, there's going to be a problem. Even with the rap world, you understand? Some rappers who come out of the drug world, when they do their tours, they go in certain cities. A lot of them got to call the drug dealer that run the area and just, get his blessing to come into the city and do their concert and all that there. You understand? And once again, we don't own none of these things. You understand? We don't own none of these things. It's just that we know that because we don't own them, we can at least tell our people. We can't tell that to the oppressor. We can't tell that to our enemies, this is my block, but we can say that to each other because we both know we don't own it. It's just that since I'm stronger than you, I'm telling you, you can't come here. I'm telling you, you can't write on this wall. I'm telling you, don't tag over what I wrote already. You understand? And those things don't belong on us, but it causes full-out war amongst us. And we go to war and murder each other over the enemy's property. You understand?
Concert. And I'm going to add to that, there was a time when we should have came together, because it's almost been impossible for the blacks and Hispanic, like for instance, on this show, we're sitting side by side today. We're sitting what people call enemy today. We are just sitting side by side as brothers, and when we go to the Passover, once again, we see that brotherhood so strong, something so easy that could have overcome the whole thing. We could have been on top a long time ago, but instead we choose to use the division that our same enemy has implanted into us to separate us and to keep us separated. And so we're going to go into our first story, right? And I'm going to go into the Hispanic people, and I'm going to allow the general to go into, what the Black brothers did, because I know that perhaps you remember about the Black Panthers, or a lot of how can I say, the brotherhood that used to be out there back in the 60s and in the 70s, and when they were attempting to come together, because it was only an attempt. The Brown Berets, the Black Panthers, the Native American Indian movement, the Puerto Rican movement, the Latin Kings, all these were just attempts to try to bring each one, like we said, tribalism, each one as individuals, they try to come together, not knowing that if we all would have came together at once, maybe things would have changed. But of course, that wasn't meant, because what does that precept say? They have the zeal, but not the knowledge.
There was zeal of the Most High, but not according to knowledge.
Not according to knowledge. So this is why when people wonder, well, how come the Black Panthers weren't able to do nothing? Or how come the Brown Berets weren't able to do nothing? And why wasn't that unity there? Well, because it wasn't time yet. The time was appointed for the ISUPK to do that, to bring Black, Hispanics, Native American Indians together. And that's why we're here today. Because today we're here to let you understand that there is going to be unity, but it's going to be right here under this banner, the ISUPK. So like my Hispanic brothers, we had issues during the time of the conquest of Cortez. We saw what happened in the time of Judah and Israel. But then let's fast forward a little bit in time. We're talking about the 1500s. The 1500s. Now you got Cortez coming into Mexico, and the reason they're coming into Mexico is because they come to conquer us. And when Cortez gets there, he sees that there might be an opportunity for him to be able to take over Mexico. But he finds that these Mexicans are real strong brothers, man. This is something that he wasn't expecting, because he got a run for his money when he found out that these Mexicans, of course, they're Ishikarites. They weren't just anybody. They were strong men, valiant men of war that were ready to die. Of course, ready to die for their nation. So you got these Spaniards coming in, and what they saw a division. They saw the division amongst Mexican people. They saw a division amongst us. This division was certain tribes that existed in Mexico. And these tribes, what was happening is that they were fighting amongst each other way before Cortez came into the picture. We were already fighting amongst each other in our country. We were going at each other because of different reasons. In this particular instance, it was called the War of the Flowers. A lot of brothers don't know about this this war between, what was Aztecs against Purupeches, what we call different tribes, Chichimecas, different tribes. We were fighting amongst each other in an effort to, one, take over land. That was one of it. Another one was a ritual that they did because of their paganism. They took on a ritual to start sacrificing during battles their people. Another one was because a lot of these tribes didn't agree with the Aztecs, though the Triple Alliance, which existed in that time, was doing, which was taking tribute. Now I'm gonna tell everybody something, that the Aztecs were a people of tribute. The Texcalas were a people of tribute. That means that since the empire was in the hands of the Mexica, they forced all tribes to give tribute to them. They had to give up land. They had to give up what we call cosecha, which is their corn, their crops, their furs that they might have got, whatever they had to give up. And a lot of the tribes were against this tribute that they had. So that bring a war amongst us. That was the reason one of these wars existed. And I'm going to show you where we get this truth from, because one thing that Mexico has a lot of history. Mexico has a lot of history that exists today that we can look back to pre-Columbian times, which is before the conquest, and even the 1816, 1700s during the conquest. And I'm about to bring this up real quick. This right here is a codex. Let me bring the correct one up. Salakia. Let me go back here one more time, and this one here. This is a codex, right? Let me see if I can find the rest of these. Yeah, Khan. So these are codex. These writings exist in Mexico today. These writings are during the time of the conquest and after the conquest and before the conquest. These books were being written, and these books were being preserved in Mexico. And this that you're seeing now is some of the pictures that are being shown today are what they wrote down during the time of this war called the War of the Flowers. And what they did is they documented through their history the War of the Flowers. And why they documented, of course, because they have kept, the history of their people. You know what I'm saying? That's why we see these paintings. That's why we see these drawings. And I'm going to go into what was known as the Texcalas. And so, like I said, I'll let you jump in a second.
No problem.
I'm just going to bring in this Texcalas right here. This is the nation that had a war with the Aztecs. These are the reasons why Cortez was able to win this war. And this is a codex that I'm going to show you here, and I'm going to name the codex so that those that know about this and have some kind of disagreement with us don't know where I'm getting it from. This one here in particular, right, is one of the most famous ones. It's called the original Lienzo de Tlaxcala, which means the canvas or piece of cloth in Spanish of Texcala, which is the nation that wrote these things or had these pictures made of. And what you're seeing here is here where I'm pointing at is a Spaniard, and this is where he got in contact with this nation and began to use them to be able to overcome the Aztec nation. And I'm going to show you in a map how it is that he ran into them. So here is a map of where Cortez landed here in the Gulf of Mexico in Villarrica. So it's called right now Villarrica, but of course it had another name before that. And as you can see, it shows the path of where he traveled. And if you follow this line, it lands into this place, Tlaxcala and Cholula, which these are the two nations that you can see just not too far from Tenochtitlan, which is the Aztec kingdom. So they were like sister cities, right next to each other, as you can see. And even though they were next to each other, they were still at war with each other. They still had issues with each other. They were still at each other's throats. And as you can see, this is the nation of the Tlaxcalas, along with Cortez in this picture right here, and these are the Aztecs on this side, and they're actually fighting it against each other. And so Cortez once again sees the weakness between the Tlaxcala nation and the Aztec nation, and he takes advantage of that by making these Tlaxcala people their allies, and by making them their allies, they come in and they're able to overcome Montezuma, and take over this nation. As you can see here, they're fighting each other. They got the indigenous people helping them, and what you're seeing here, this picture, is because actually Cortez, even though he won the war, he lost the war, because in the end, Spain deemed him a bad influence on the whole nation. So here you go with another picture, Tlaxcala on the top, Tlaxcalan, and this woman that you see here is what's that woman's name? It's the Malinche. Malinche was a woman that got together with Cortez and was able to translate to the Indians and get them to get on Cortez's side. So he didn't do that by himself. If you're wondering, well, how was he able to talk to the indigenous people? How was he able to do all this? One, he had interpreters. Two, he had this woman who helped him also interpret different language. And what you're seeing here is them giving tribute to Cortez. As you can see on the floor, he's got what are those, birds, chickens, and he's giving a tribute to Cortez here. This is what this Indian of Tlaxcala is doing. He's giving tribute. And I'm going to go to some of these pictures, and then we're going to go right to it. Here is the indigenous people once again. Here is the woman, and she's right here with Cortez. And here are the Indians, the Tlaxcala people. And they're being, brought into the circle. What is that precept that we use, Adawan? His lips were sweeter than butter.
God. Word smooth, like smooth like butter, sweet like honey. You know what I'm saying?
Khan, absolutely. And that's what we were seeing in this picture. It seems like he's sitting there. They gave him a throne to sit on. And remember, these paintings are actual paintings out of what's known as the Codex from Mexico. This particular one comes from the 1700s, I believe. These paintings are 17 to 1800, somewhere around there, maybe even earlier. I actually have the dates on them. Why don't we use that to make sure people understand what it is?
If I can, because it's so sad. Like this picture is so sad because it's what happens to Israelites all the time. You understand? Like you said, we start fighting each other when we, of course, the Aztecs weren't in the truth. They weren't obeying the Most High. They had many different gods outside of the Most High. So, they were trying to survive on their own for what they thought was right. But without the Lord, none of it works. You understand? And then we start to fight amongst each other. Like he's taking tribute, like you said, right? But some people might think it's unfair. Now, who's going to judge what's fair, what's not, when you don't have a real God intervening? You know what I'm saying? A real higher power intervening, or somebody that's super wise that this God puts wisdom on, like Solomon, or like our kings in the past, like the judges in the prophets. You know what I'm saying? When God isn't in it, then you're just going off of what man thinks and how he feels. So some people might have thought the Aztecs was taking too much money. Aztecs might have thought we need this tribute to have a nation. That's what tithes are for. That's what taxes are for. To run a nation, you need the people to give tribute. You understand? And so then eventually, because we fight each other, the enemy comes in. And then because we fight each other once again, some of us decide to join the enemy because you my brother, but I hate you so much because we've been at war that my enemy just asked me to make a deal. He said, listen, I know you've been fighting those tribes over there. You join us, and we can conquer them, and you can have it all. Of course, like you said, his word's going to be smooth like butter. And we believe him. We sit him on a chair, damn near make him a god, give him tribute, and we join him to fight against our brothers, thinking he going to keep his word. But then we find out the hard way every time. And not just Issachar, all the tribes. We find out the hard way every time that this man is the devil. And he lies and he breaks his covenants, and you cannot trust him. You understand? We find out the hard way every time. But once again, you know, the Aztecs, as strong as they are and as powerful as they were, you understand, they weren't in the truth. You understand? And it's impossible for the Aztecs to gather the tribe of Issachar in one and in unity because they wasn't with the Lord. It's just like, if I can speak on the Black Panthers, if I'm not jumping ahead, you know, once upon a time, you know, the Black Panthers, they love black people, you understand? And their goal was to help black people. They were feeding the kids. They once started the programs in the communities where you feed the kids, had the free lunches and all that. They started that. And they would do different things in the community. They would do neighborhood watch, you understand? That's what they would do. And then eventually started to have problems with each other. You understand? Started to separate. You understand? And, you know, out of the Black Panthers, you know, selling drugs, still doing things, sinning against the Lord, not in the truth. So even though they loved your community and try to do things for the community, because they didn't serve the Lord and wasn't in the truth, the Lord never blesses it. And eventually they fell again to our enemies who infiltrated them, you know what I'm saying, and separated them. And those same Black Panthers, so powerful, love black people so much, love the hood, they became the Bloods and the Crips. You know, when the Bloods first started, you know what the Bloods stood for? Because the Bloods gang, when they first started, let me see, I had it here somewhere. Oh man, Bloods mean, okay, let me try to pull it. Give me 1 second. Oh man, I don't have it here, but Bloods, you know, they was something with let me see, it got to be here somewhere. But like those letters were an acronym for something, you know, in the ghetto, and you know, for black people. I'm gonna go to the Crips, but they were started to help the black community. You understand? So did the Crips. The Crips had started to help the black community. You understand? And they were an acronym also. You understand? But the point that both of these groups, the Black Panthers, even when they became Bloods and Crips, again showed division. They were divided even amongst themselves. You had this type of Black Panther, you had these type of Black Panthers. They were separated and divided. Eventually became the Bloods, which was a community organization at first. The Crips was another community organization until one of them got into a fight with the other group, and then they went to war. And selling drugs to keep some money and doing crime, of course, got guns and started going to war with each other. You understand? And of course, all the whole time, our enemies that infiltrated us. You understand? Even with Gad, the tribe of Gad, the North American Indians, you know, they were fighting amongst each other once upon a time. They weren't in the truth. You understand? They didn't follow the commandments of the Lord, so they were doomed to fail anyway. There can be no unity without the Most High. And so even Gad and their different tribes, when they were fighting, when the enemies came over to take these lands in a war against them, some of them joined with our oppressor. They joined with them to conquer the tribes that they were fighting with, thinking that they would benefit, thinking that they would profit once they destroy their enemy, who is their brother, but they destroy him, thinking that this man going to keep his word and that they're going to prosper, when this man just you help him conquer them, and then they turn on you and conquer you. That's just how it always happens. So,
I think I found it for you too. It's got a few, but one of them is brotherly love overcomes oppression and destruction.
John, that's it. I can't find it in my notes right now. That's it.
But something like that, sir. Something I heard of it too. I saw that Crips also has a meaning to it too. But like the point we're getting at is that at one point it meant something for us. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? It was something that was supposed to be a positive thing for us. You know what I mean? But now we see it a little different. The book that I'm reading from, the book I was the Crips is Community Revolution in Progress. That's the Crip one. So you were right about the Mexicans though, and how we had to pay tribute, and somehow some of us were against it. We're against paying tribute because they just didn't want to pay tribute. But you know, if anybody knows the kingdom of the Aztecs or the kingdom of Nezacoyotl, you know, that beautiful kingdom of Tlaxcala, you know, you would know that the person in power, which were known as Totonis, the Tlotoni, which means like one who speaks or a king, they would use that money to better the city, or they would use the goods to better the city. They would make the city as beautiful as it could be. And the paying tribute was part of doing that, because in return they could do things. If people don't know that, in the time of the Aztecs, gold had no value. It had no value. Gold was just something you used as decoration for your clothing or your headpieces or whatever it may be, your cups or whatever it may be. But it didn't have no value. What had value was tangible things, the cocoa bean, skins. You know what I mean? Animals, food, things like that. That was our value. We didn't use any kind of, exactly, no currency. There was no, if it didn't have any use, it was invaluable at all. Do you have that one for the one I asked for?
Concept.
So, and I'm going to show you how it is that we were always supposed to pay tribute. It was always in ours to pay tribute. Those that didn't want to pay tribute were actually going against the Aztec laws. They were going against the community laws, or even the laws of that civilization to be able to survive. They were going against it. And I'm going to bring it out in the Bible, how Mexicans, like that, we had no choice. We always had to pay tribute. It's in our blood to pay tribute. If you got that, go ahead, read it.
So this is the book of Genesis, chapter 49 and verse 14. Issachar is a strong ass, couching down between two burdens. Verse 15, and he saw that rest was good, and the land that it was pleasant, and bowed his shoulders to bear, and became a servant unto tribute.
And became a servant unto what?
Tribute.
And we became servants unto tribute. Why? Because the land that was given to us was real nice, and we're an ass. We're hardworking people. So not only we are hardworking people, but we see land that's good. And what was the main commodity in the Aztec kingdom? Agriculture. We knew all about agriculture. We would grow our corn in lakes. We knew how to grow, hydroponic today. So we knew all about agriculture. And with that, we knew that paying tribute, it was given to us by the Most High. The Lord gave us to pay tribute because we're wise people. And we knew that if we give, our kingdoms become better. Our organizations become better when we give, because we're giving freely, because we know that we're giving is going to strengthen our people, our organizations, our land, our cities, our kingdom. So why would we not want to give tribute? But of course, you know, the wickedness of some of us that, you know, we refuse to give, you know, and we refuse to be part of it, then that comes to us where here is the end of our kingdom, because we thought paying tribute was not for us. And those codex that I'm showing, I'm going to give you some dates. This one in particular is from 1892. But as I'm reading, they said they also pulled a lot of these pictures from 16th and 15th century drawings. So these that you see here date back to 15th and 16th century drawings. And here you have it. Here you have Cortez and speaking, what is that? Sweet as butter to our people, you know, getting them to join him. Here it is. There is the Malinche, which is the woman who betrayed the kingdoms. You know what I'm saying? All the kingdoms. Today, Arwan, when you want to call a Mexican woman something bad, you know, without offending her, you call her a Malinche. you malenche, you know what I mean? You what was that in the Bible? Who is that woman?
Jezebel.
You Jezebel.
Malenche. God.
So Malenche is like a Jezebel kind of in a sort of way, you know. And here we have another picture. Here you have the Tlaxcala indigenous folks, and these are Aztecs, and of course you're seeing the war, and you're seeing the Aztecs alongside of it. Now what you're seeing here is a depiction of the Spaniards killing the Aztecs. As you can see, they're killing the Aztecs, right? And you know, we were speaking about, here you go again, they're killing them, decapitating them, you know, slicing them up. And what you're seeing in the hands of these indigenous people, right, is called a macuitli. A macuitli was a stick that had stones on it, which were made of obsidian or volcanic rock. And the reason of these macuitlis, Adawan, was because we were not supposed to kill our brothers. We were supposed to maim our brothers. The War of the Flowers was a war where the Tlaxcala nation and the Aztec Mexica nation had come into an agreement that because of the famine and what was going on across the land, supposedly the gods had punished them. So what they decided to do is come into an agreement where they would fight each other and the captives would be sacrificed so that the gods could have some kind of mercy on them and bring back rain and bring back corn and bring back a good will to them, you know. And so what they did is they fought each other, but the fight that they were having with each other was not a war of real hate towards each other or conquest towards each other, but it was a war of kind of like, you know, confusion with their gods because they went off with other gods. Yeah. But even then, even in that confusion, they would not kill each other. They would go into sacrifice. And the man that would be sacrificed, it was an honor to him to die for his people. So let's say I was at war and they captured me, well, then I'd be like, man, I prefer not to die, but if I'm going to die for my people so that the gods can give them water and give them food, then so be it. I'll die in this manner, in a humble or how is that, a way, what we call a glorious way, because now I'm dying in honor for my people. And so this was the War of the Flowers. The War of the Flowers was not what the Spaniards did, to come with spears and swords and chop up our people and leave the bodies dead on the streets of our cities. That's not what that war was about. But the Spaniards, they did bring that type of war. They bring a war of massacre and destruction and what is that? Mutilation and, you know, decapitation against our people. Actually, Adawan, there is this book that I read where his name is Bartolomé de las Casas, and de las Casas writes in his book. He was during the conquest of Cortez, during that conquest of Spain. He writes how Cortez would come up to the children, and the Spaniards, one to another, would see who could slice through the leg or the arm of a child in one stroke. So it was a game they would play with the children of slicing them off. And some of the Aztec people would be sliced off, and there's images where you see an indigenous man just looking at his arm that has fallen off. And he's in amazement and looking at his hand no longer being attached to his body. Because they didn't know what that was. To them, that didn't exist. They knew death. They knew being maimed through their macuitlis, their weapons, but they did not know about being severed from their bodies.
Yeah, you know Our president, this enemy, brother, he showed the tribes what real murder and killing is. You understand? I know it's a lot of history where he would pull the skin off of the tribes, man. He would pull the skin off of us. You know what I'm saying? And scared us. We'd be scared to death. We see bodies of our people hanging all over the place after a war with no skin on them, and we truly know that we are fighting Satan right now. You understand? So you know this man he's different. Like we learn what real evil is in fighting this guy. You know what I'm saying?
And when we see that, we understand. You know, people I hear a lot of stories that are out there that say, well, you know, the Aztecs used to sacrifice each other. They sacrificed millions of children. They decapitated each other. They would eat each other. They were cannibals. You know, you hear all these stories, but this is the side of the Spaniard speaking this. That same Spaniard, that same Caucasian, that same Edomite that did the same thing to the Native American Indian children. The same one that did the same thing to our black brothers and sisters, to our Benjamite brothers and sisters, to our Levite brothers and sisters. The same man who murdered thousands of children, who sold off thousands of children. You know, we can talk about the boarding schools, the plantations. We can talk about all these things and see what we have in common. What the Spaniard did to the Aztec, so did the English do to the black man. So did the British do to all them. So it's all in the same sense. I mean, this history has been repeating itself throughout every generation, because now we see the hangings of black men during the 50s and the 60s, and when we see the hanging of Chicanos during the overtake of the gold rush era here in California. You know what I'm saying? What was that? The land grab of California and the hanging of our brothers here. You know what I'm saying? But let's go ahead and finish with this story with the Aztecs. You know, once again, we see here the Tlaxcala Indians meeting with Cortez, and in between another picture of that woman. This woman had the same spirit as Jezebel. This woman had the same spirit of those women that have betrayed us. That's why when we say that the woman must remain quiet, here it is why. Here it is why, you know, you got Eve doing that to Adam. You know what I'm saying? You got, Jezebel doing that. You got these women who have always came into the picture and have betrayed men. And the result is this that you see here. You can see a Hispanic man hanging here. You can see us chopped up on the floor here. You can see our own people coming against us and on horses. Who is that but Cortez and his people, right? This is who you see there. And it's funny because, you know, once again, I'm pretty sure there's a precept that says that we shall see what the kings and nursing fathers and them on horses. What is that?
That's Ecclesiastes. I saw servants upon horses. Servants upon horses and kings as servants. I get it. And again, it's such a sad thing because, you know, like you said, you know, they know that that's one of the number one tools to separate our tribes. Man, first of all, we against each other just from not understanding how we're family and how, you know, we supposed to be under the Lord, how we blood family, the 12 tribes. We separated in that instance, but then even amongst the tribes, our oppressor, he pits our woman against us. He starts that whole push for, you know, a woman having independence, women's rights, and, you know, and that separates us. That creates the Jezebels, you understand, and keeps them, you know, against us. And we can't function if the man ain't in charge. You know what I'm saying? I know women are beautiful and they're fine and we love them, but if they're in charge and there's no man making the final decisions and calling the shots, it's always going to go wrong. Always. So Ecclesiastes, you're looking for 10 and 7. Where the Lord he say, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. You understand? Because once again, we are the kings of the earth. That's why Jesus Christ is called King of Kings. You understand? Because he's the king of us, who are the kings of the earth. But once again, the Most High turned his back on us for disobedience, and our enemies like Cortez and all the rest, they're able to conquer us. They're able to come in and destroy and pillage us. You understand? As strong as we are, as spiritual as we are, you understand? When we don't serve the Most High, we just pray for the slaughter. You understand? And it never goes right. It never goes right. I know the Aztecs might have had good intentions. You know, let's get this tribute. Let's keep our nation strong. Let's get the things we need. But within that tribute, who's to say what's fair, what's not fair? You understand? Who's to ensure the people that the money is going to the right place? You understand? Who's to say that when the people were in need after giving that tribute, they didn't get what they were promised? You understand? So it's actually man just saying this and saying that. And now, you got to believe this guy. And that's once again, and that's another thing too. Without these fair and just laws of the Most High, once we leave them, it's hard to trust each other. It's hard to trust each other from way back then, even up to now. Black people, Hispanics, we can't unify because we don't trust each other. You understand? They always talk, we're supposed to have black businesses. We're supposed to have Hispanic businesses all over the place where we own it. You understand? I go up in Benjamite stores with all type of Benjamite food and spices and goat and lamb. And it's Moabites running the place. They got 2 or 3 Benjamites working in the back, but Moabites are running the place. Because once again, we are divided and conquered. You understand? We've been divided because without the Spirit of Christ, you understand, you as much as you want to, you just can't unify. I might go, my blood brother in the world, I might open a business with him, right? I might open a business. Now I trust him that he ain't gonna poison my food. I trust him hanging around. I mean, my blood brother, we grew up together. But who's to say, you understand, he don't live by the same laws that I live by. I follow the laws of the Bible, the laws of the Most High, our God, which we got to do. He doesn't. He's into something else. He Christian or whatever he is. Now we run a business together. His thoughts might be a little different on how this money is spread and divided. What we should do. You understand? So we can't trust that we on the same page. Like you can't raise a nation or a business or anything unless you on the same page. And that page we all got to be on is the Spirit of Christ. You understand? And unfortunately, the Aztecs didn't have the Spirit of Christ. Black Panthers didn't have the Spirit of Christ. The Gadites didn't have the Spirit of Christ. Who else? The civil marches and all the black revolutionists, they didn't have the Spirit of Christ. So those things don't work. You understand? Those things, they eventually fall because it's not the Spirit of Christ. So, go ahead.
John, absolutely.
You want to say something about the scripture?
Content. Oh, absolutely, sir. No, you're absolutely right about that. About how that separates us, and when you're talking about the tribute, and how we went against it, and how we're actually, you were speaking right on it, and I showed this one, and you're noticing how instead of giving tribute to our own people, we choose to give tribute to our enemy.
God.
You know what I'm saying? And as you can see here in this picture, you're looking at these Tlaxcala people or these Aztec people, and all that's on the floor is an image depicting them giving tribute to who? To Cortez and to his soldiers. This tribute belongs to the Lord.
Yes, they feared Cortez more than they feared the Most High. You understand?
Absolutely, other one. Absolutely. And this is, like I said, this image is from 1800, 1600, and you can see how they're giving tribute. This is tribute that they're giving, and they're giving it to instead of their own, they prefer to give it to our enemy. And that's why our enemy has taken over. And this is what the enemy gave us in return. Here it is, our indigenous people being baptized into a Catholic religion, into the image of these Catholics. You know what I'm saying? Right. And this is a sad truth that we've exchanged our culture for a religion. You know what I'm saying, everyone?
And they were so smart. Once again, this is the most subtle beast of the field. That religion, pushing that religion, was the brainwashing that they needed to give the slave. You understand? to keep us in line, they had to feed us that. That alters your mind. This is God. This is, you see that? He looks just like me. This is God. Worship him. Worship these gods. And in essence, you're going to be worshiping me. They needed to be worshiped as gods. So that's what religion is. Religion is once again, even religion in itself is made to divide and conquer. It's made to divide you from your people, from your God, from your culture, and make you a slave to the person they feeding you to worship.
Khan Adawan, absolutely. And that's the problem with us today, that we are so into worshiping their God that we've forgotten who we are. We forgot what a great nation of people we are. We forgot what great people the Aztecs, the Mexica, the Chimecas, the Toltecas, what great people we are, what great wisdom we had, what great love we had. You know what I'm saying? For our people, and we forgot that. And we've given it to a nation that has shown nothing but hate and destruction towards us. And right now we were speaking about, you know, the Aztec times and how this happened to us, and looking at Malinche and seeing how we lost our kingdom because of our own hate or our quarrels between ourselves, our quarrels between our nations. Is that not the way how we lost Israel, how we lost the kingdom when Judah and Israel fought, and we lost that whole thing? Why? Because we could not stand together. Here it is again in the time of the Aztecs, but once again, we cannot stand together. We're quarreling. We don't want to pay tithes. You know, we didn't want to, we didn't want to follow, you know, law and order. And some foreign nation came along and saw this separation and was able to take it from us one more time. And if we go into during the time of Christ's time, I believe that if we look at what happened to Judah and what happened to Israel or the kingdom, when Josephus speaks about the destruction of Jerusalem, and the destruction of Jerusalem took place because of separation with our people there too. Some of them wanted to do one thing, others wanted to do another thing. Here you go with Judas Maccabees. Judas Maccabees also saw the same problem within our own people. We had Judas Maccabees trying to bring our people back to the Lord. And we saw a lot of our own brothers, you know, trying to side with the enemy, trying to side with the Edomites, trying to make gyms, right? They were trying to come together to establish, what is that? Bally's gym, or I don't know what kind of gym they were trying to make. But they were trying to make some kind of gym back in those days, where they could teach the Caucasians how to be just like them. They wanted to give away all their things, like today, just so they could be loved by their enemy. Ain't that right, Otto?
Khan, and that's fear. That's fear, because they see these people and they fear them, and scared to be murdered by them, they do whatever they think is right to appease them, give them tribute, make deals with them. A great king, what do you want us to do? And the king says, well, we need you to do this, that, and you'll be the king's friend. And a lot of us agree. Now, a very few of us stand against that every time when you read them scriptures. There's a few of us to say, no, I can't do that. I know in the, I think it was the Maccabees, one of the elders, they told him, you know, he get to eat the swine, and because the people followed him and they looked up to him as an elder. And so if he would eat the swine, then the young men would see it, and they would more easily eat the swine. You understand? Try to, you know, divide us. But the brother said, he said, no, I can't do that, because, you know, well, first he said, well, I've been, you know, they've been looking at me as a man with integrity all my life. If I go eat this swine, then, you know, it ain't gonna look good. I can't do that. And they said, well, listen, how about you eat a lawful food? They said, eat some lamb or eat some lawful food and just tell them that it's swine. So you still keeping your integrity. This is what the heathen said. You're still keeping your integrity by eating this lawful food, by your God is lawful, but we're gonna tell the people that it was swine, that it was an abomination. And he wasn't even gonna go that far. He said, I can't even do that. You understand? I can't even do that, because, you know, because then in my old age, they're going to say that I didn't change and I didn't, you know, serve. I'm paraphrasing. I didn't serve Satan in my old age, and I'm not going to do that to my young men. So, you know, You had a few of us always ready to go against the oppressor and always ready to die. You understand, and not obey them. You had the 7 brothers in the Maccabees that, you know, got burned with their mother. They got killed and murdered. You had them standing and choosing death rather than, you know, join with our oppressor. But like you said, while Maccabees and them giving the speech and rousing Israel up and saying, don't follow these people, you had that Israelite that went up in the tent with the Moabite and start dealing with it. You understand? The Lord put a spirit on the brother to run and stab a javelin through him and them heathen, man. You know what I'm saying? Because he had the utter gall to go do that while we saying, let's separate from these people and come together. He went and dealt with it like the hell with Maccabees, the hell with them. I'm going to go do that. So you got that in our people all the time. You understand? They readily join the enemy because of fear, because of some way they think they're going to gain, but it never works out.
Khan, Adawan, Khan, and Oscar Ward's got a precept on that one. Go ahead, Oscar Ward, read us that precept.
Khan, so this is the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6, and verse 17. But let this that we had spoken be for a warning unto us, and now will we come to the declaring of the matter in a few words. Verse 18, Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man, and of a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh. Verse 19, but he, choosing rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abomination, spit it forth, and came of his own record to the torment. Verse 20, as it behooved them to come that are resolute to stand out against such things as are not lawful for love of life to be tasted.
Khan. So as we can see here, some of our brothers we'd rather die than to stain ourselves with anything like that. You know what I'm saying? And that courage or that honor had slipped away from us because a lot of us have chosen to side with our enemy. One thing I say, Adawan, all the time is we can't be Mexican American. We can't be Black American. We can't be Native American Indian, because to use the word American sparingly between our heritage, man, is a dishonor. That's like eating swine. To put America behind you is like swine to us. Go ahead, Malakma.
As one of the term American be in fact a form of erasure of indigenous people, of Hispanics, of so-called Black folk.
Khan, that's exactly what that is. Just the word America is to erase your heritage, to erase who you are, to erase what you're all about. And we got to understand that is something that we have fought and died for so long. And when we see what Maccabees and what the rest of our brothers in the Bible did when they came up against this same situation, they were strong in faith and they were strong in themselves, and they withheld every moment to say, man, I cannot do that. I cannot eat swine. I cannot go against the laws of the Lord. I cannot allow what was Judas doing. Judas Maccabees was actually killing his own Israelite brothers for doing things like that. Like, you would be put to death during the times of Judas Maccabees for going and worshiping an altar, for going in and worshiping a stone or, you know, one of their gods. It was an instant death for you if Judas Maccabees caught you doing those things. Ain't that right, Otto?
That's right, Con. You know, it was a time where you could side with the heathen, but you better stay out of the way of them Israelites who were serious about the Lord and the law. You understand? Just like it was with King David. You understand? King David, you know, he was a righteous brother, a man after the Lord's heart, he said. But you understand, you do Israel wrong, and you in his path, he gonna put you to death. You understand? So it was a dangerous thing. But once again, that's what we choose. A lot of us still choose that, but it's an honor. Our people that understood the Most High and understood our culture, we knew that death wasn't the end. Death wasn't the end. We'll be back. You understand? Like them 7 brothers and their mother told the heathens, man, listen, you can take our life, but we'll be back, and our God gonna deal with you for it. They understood that, and those words is true. You understand? They're gonna get every bit of what they deserve for doing those things. You understand? Now the Lord is long suffering. You understand? It might seem like he take a long time to us, but he ain't never lied, and he gonna hold them accountable. They're gonna answer for everything they did that we read about. They're gonna answer for all that, and they're gonna answer for all the things that they're doing in these modern times. They're gonna answer for what they did to the Aztecs. They're gonna answer for what they did to the Gadites. They're gonna answer for what they did to the black people. You understand? To the Haitians, to the Dominicans. They're gonna answer it. And I love the book of Psalms when it said that day gonna come when we're gonna execute judgments upon them. First, we're gonna lock them the hell up, put fetters of chains on them and iron on them and lock them the hell up. Then we're gonna execute the judgment on them for the crimes that they've committed. That's what I live for.
Con, and that's the day that we're looking forward to. You know what I'm saying? Because it can't go untouched. But let's move on, because we're talking about, we're talking about the Aztecs, we're talking about Judas, and we're seeing the similarities on how we've been separated because of our own hate towards each other, towards our own brothers, and we now that has become like they're calling against us, and now we move a little bit forward and we see, like in my neighborhood right here in LA, where we started to see the fight between Mexican on Mexican. Now, during the 50s, we had this incident called the Sleepy Lagoon. The Sleepy Lagoon is something that happened in the 60s where the police department out here in Los Angeles, was having an issue with what was known as the Chicanos, the Pachucos, the Zoot Suiters. And what was happening is that the one thing they disliked was our style of dressing. We dressed in a manner that they would call too uppity. The word too uppity was a used word a word they used that meant you were acting too Mexican or too black or too Native Indian. They didn't want you acting like that. Today, all the brothers in the ISUPK are acting too uppity. You know what I'm saying, Ottawa? Today, all you Negroes, all you Spics, all you savages, you're acting too uppity today. And that would be a threat to all of them because we're acting the way we should be acting. We're acting with honor. We're acting with the pride that we should have to be who we are, Israelite. Ain't that right, Ottawa?
That's right. That's right. Con. Like they like the fact that we act like gremlins. You understand? They like that. That's all you see on the news. They show our bad side on the news and put those images of us doing horrible things all over the news. I get notices all day, every day, breaking news going on with some black person that did, some horrible thing black people that did. You understand? That's what they push to the world. That's how the world looks at us. You understand? But for us to be dignified, like you said, like brothers in the ISUPK, to be professional, they don't want to put that out there. They don't want that to be seen. You understand? They want that to be hidden when we professional, full of integrity. You understand? They rather have us act like gremlins so they can say, you see, those are savages. That's why we call them Indians. You see, those are savages. That's why we call them niggas. That's why they like roaches. You understand? That's what this government been called us. Like we're roaches because the image of us have been pushed all over the news, all over the media in our worst condition. You understand? But to see the integrity, to see the intelligence of our people, that don't get broadcasted. Can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Con, there we go. We're back on. So one of the things that we see here is that one of the problems with America. Con, there we go. We're back on. Okay. So one of the things that we see here is that just 1 second, Ottawa. 1 second. Let me log out of this. Okay, here we go. Salakia, Ottawa. Salakia, my speaker went out, but it's back on.
So
can't hear you. Can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear. I can't hear because no sound. No sound.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you now.
Okay, Tom, there we go. My Bluetooth just keeps going in and out, but we're back on. We're back on. So, you know, in those days, we saw the problem we used to have because of the way we used to act. And I was going into the Sleepy Lagoon incident and how America, or at least the police department here in LA, took advantage of this opportunity where a couple of Hispanic brothers started getting into a little scuffle. And what they did is they murdered one of these brothers. They murdered him and they blamed it on other Hispanic people and said that we were now gangs. And they labeled us as gangs. They labeled us as enemies to each other. And the newspaper out here, the LA Times, began to print this like crazy. And not only did white people begin to believe it, but our own people began to believe it. Our own people began to believe that maybe it is true. Maybe there is groups of Hispanics killing other groups of Hispanics. And we began to see this grow more and more because the LA Times, that newspaper, was using the tactic of using the newspaper to promote hate between ourselves. Here it comes once again where they saw the opportunity to separate us. And that's where they began to separate us. They began to separate us by showing hate between each other. And with this, they started breeding in this hate amongst Hispanic against Hispanic. You know what I'm saying? And we began to see this trend of Hispanics hating other groups because you lived in a different area, because you dressed a certain way, because you had a certain different way of speaking. And I'm going to go into this because Malatma brought this out not too long ago. We saw it in Cesar Chavez, which to a lot of people, he's a hero. But to a lot of us who know, Cesar Chavez had a hate for Mexicans. He was promoting that Mexicans were taking jobs from Chicanos. We're taking jobs from the Chicano people that were out here. And he began to promote that. He began to promote, you know, these Mexicans are coming over the border. They were called, what were they, the Obreros, the Obrero program that they had in the 50s and the 60s, where they would come out from Mexico to work. I know firsthand because my grandfather was one of those people. He would come from Mexico.
What were the Chicanos? What were the Chicanos?
Chicanos were Mexican Americans, Mexicans born in the United States. So there was a separation during the sale of the states out here when Santana, President Santana, sold these lands, supposedly sold this land to the United States. They put up a border. Anybody who was left on this side was considered Mexican American, or really, we didn't use that word, but Chicano. You know what I'm saying? And so they stayed on this side. But let me tell you something, because even though Cesar Chavez promoted that hate, in 1950s, President Eisenhower did a thing called the Repatriation Act. And what Eisenhower did was deport over 1 million Mexican Americans, so-called Chicanos, to Mexico and Central America. A lot of these people didn't even speak Spanish, never lived in Mexico, were third generation Mexican so-called Americans. And he deported them anyways for the color of their skin because they looked Mexican. A lot of people don't know the story of this Repatriation Act, but thousands died in the desert of Mexicali and the other side of the border because they were not being accepted by Mexican people. Why? Because of the hate that they bred in themselves against their own people. And when Mexicans would come over here, these English-speaking only Mexican people would have how can I say, would discriminate against them. There was a sort of discrimination of brother against brother because you spoke Spanish and you didn't speak English, and I spoke only English and I didn't speak Spanish. In other words, you didn't belong here. We see it still today with a lot of these Mexican Americans who are talking about close the borders, send those people back to Mexico. You know, you're a wetback. You know what I'm saying, Ardawan? Go ahead, Ardawan, if you want to.
No, you're right. You're right. I remember some of the reports, man, and hearing them say those same things. A lot of Mexicans just in the government, say the same thing. You understand? A lot of them support, the government, American, and let's send them back. Well, we come over here, we make a better life, and this and that. I'm all for tightening up at the border because they make us look bad and things like that. I've heard them say it.
Absolutely, and let me tell you something. What they don't know is that this all used to be Mexico.
Right.
I say it's occupied territory. You know what I'm saying? That's what it really is, occupied territory. That's where we live, northern Mexico, occupied territory, because that's what this is. We know what a liar the white man is. And for him to tell me that he bought this land, that this was given to him legally, that's got to be a goddamn lie.
Good.
Because we can't believe anything this man tells us. Ain't that right, Otto?
You see in the news today, it's coming out with all the land he stole. There's a family that their ancestors owned a big beachfront land in California, the Bruce family. You understand? They fight now in court to get that land back that was taken from them illegally, taken from their family. And there's a lot of them. They still go out there to celebrate and have family functions on that. It's called Bruce Beach, named after their family. But Esau took it, and now they're trying to get it back, and Esau's fighting them. Even in the news now, you got the victims of Tulsa, Oklahoma. There's a few survivors left, and their families, now they starting petitions to try to get some of that land stolen back. There's a lot of land that was taken from blacks and Hispanics, like you're saying, because once again, Mexico was way bigger than what they say it is now. It was part of America, was Mexico. And of course, they lie and steal and lie and steal. You understand? I was just watching a show a couple of days ago, Billy the Kid. And they show how Gad, like Billy had shot some man, and so he now in the desert back then, riding on his horse, and he ran up on some Gadites, and the Gadites put a knife to his neck, and they said, and took his horse, and he said, "Listen, man, I'm out here alone. I'm gonna die out here. I need my horse, please." He said, "Your people done stole our land, so we ain't gonna take your life, but we gonna take your horse," and took his horse and left him out there to die. You understand? Because Gad, want their land back, and they being infiltrated. And as they're being infiltrated, they get Esau back whenever they can. You know what I'm saying? But they always been stealing land and stealing every damn thing. That's all they do is steal. So I understand what you're saying.
Con Adawan, and let me tell you something. We got Mexicans have plenty of stories, plenty of heroes, just like those Gadites that you're speaking of. We also have, like Joaquin Murrieta. Joaquin Murrieta, a lot of people don't understand the story of this man. This man was a native Californian who had property in California, property in Arizona, property in Mexico, and he was a rich man because he knew how to get gold, how to pan gold, and he made a living off of that. And the white man saw what this man had, and they wanted him because the white man don't live by the laws of the Most High. I'm pretty sure that we all know that one of the commandments is not to desire what someone else has.
That's covet. That's coveting. Right? That's covet. Thou shalt not covet.
Thou shalt not covet. And when you covet, then you're going to steal.
Right.
And in order to steal, then you're going to murder.
And listen, the white man don't even live by his laws because he don't even live by his own laws. He's lawless.
So that's what happened to this man, Joaquin Murrieta. The white man already began to covet. Then first he lied, then he coveted, then he stole, then he murdered. You know what I'm saying? Because he doesn't abide by any of the laws that the Most High has. We got to abide by that because we know in that same order, we got to recognize that when you begin to covet something, all the other laws are about to be broken. When you look at a woman and that's your brother's woman, man, you can expect all the other things to happen, to fall right behind it. Because you coveted that woman, you're going to lie. Because you lied, you're going to have to do something to mend that. You're going to end up murdering your brother, or he's going to end up murdering you because you break one law and all the other laws fall into place just like a domino effect. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened, and that's what happened to this man. And this man became a legend. You know what I'm saying? He became a legend because they murdered his sister, they murdered his brother-in-law, they stole his property, they beat and almost killed him. In the end, all he had left was to become a martyr for the Mexican people. And if you've ever seen that movie, what is that? Zorro? The movie Zorro? If you've ever seen that movie Zorro, it's kind of based on the story of Joaquin Murrieta. And you know, the Hollywood version makes it look, you know, somewhat romantic, whatever you want to call it. But in real life, you know, Joaquin Murrieta was killing white people, was stealing their horses, was breaking into their homes, was burning down their houses. He became a vigilante for the Hispanic people. And he had a price on his head because what they wanted was him dead because of all that he did. You know what I'm saying? And this man overcame everything. In the end, they caught him, you know, cut off his head, put it in this jar, and it became a circus thing where they would take his head around and show it off for, you know, for a price.
A trophy,
you know,
a trophy.
A trophy. And that's the way the white man is, you know. But with his death, he raised a lot of young men who wanted to be just like him. A lot of men who called themselves Joaquin Murrieta. And they became the next vigilantes. You know what I'm saying? The spirit
put courage in him.
God, the spirit that we've had, the spirit that's in the Bible of men of war, we've always carried that spirit. We're still around. We're still here. The thing is that we're asleep and we don't understand the power we have or who we are. We are those kids. We are those Joaquin Murrietas. We are those Emiliano Zapatas. We are all those people that rode with these great heroes, all those that accompanied Judas Maccabees, all those who accompanied, you know, the Issacharites in the valiant men of war. We are those spirits. The question is, when will we wake up and take our place once again as men of war? You know what I'm saying, Adawan?
Kind of the one, you know the answer to that, because it's why you do what you do. It's why I do what I do. It's why we in the ISUBK do what we do. There's only one answer to that. You understand? To be them men of the war again, we have to return and take on the spirit of Christ. And there's only one place to do that. You know what I'm saying? Now it's all over the earth now, all over America and Trinidad, you know, in Jamaica, in the UK, we all over Canada, you understand? We all over, but there's only one place, you know, where you come to get that spirit that we need to unify, that spirit that we need to build, that spirit of Christ. You understand? The Commander Johnny Yohanan taught all of us, you know, that's what we need. That's what they lacking. That's what, you know, even the I forget the names. What's those tribes under the Aztecs? What's one of them or two of them?
We got the Mexica.
The Mexica. As wise as the Mexica are and all those different tribes, they just lack that one thing. You understand? They had love for each other, but how do you show that love for each other when you don't know what laws to follow? You know what I'm saying? How do Mexicans truly love each other if they've been cut off from the spirit of Christ? How do Puerto Ricans love each other if they've been cut off from the spirit of Christ? Black people, we can't love each other because we've been cut off from the spirit of Christ. So the only way to get that unity back and the only way to be strong and be those men of war again is to get the spirit of Christ in the ISUBK. Or otherwise, you're going to be tough and you're going to be men of war, but how much of a man of war are you if you're only killing your people? You understand? If you're only going to war with each other, you understand? And once again, if the Aztecs got strong, let's say right now in 2022, if the Aztecs got strong, there will still be division in Issachar. If the Black Panthers got strong, there will still be division in Judah. You understand? If the Gadite tribes if one of them got strong above the others, there will still be division. They will still fight each other because we need that spirit of Christ in anything we do. That's the only thing that'll guide us and show us how to keep this unity and how to really be strong in the eyes of the Lord. And then once again, that's why we do what we do, Kazak. And it's an honor, you know, to be hearing you and seeing your shows and to roll with you and them brothers down there with you. because that's our job. That's our number one priority, to bring these hard-headed Judites together with these hard-headed Issacharites, together with these hard-headed Gadites and Ephraimites, and you know, and bring them together in one fold again. And you doing it. You understand?
Con, absolutely, Adawan, absolutely. And you know what? That's what we're doing today. You know what I mean? And it's an honor to have you on this show because, you know, to be able to sit here with my brother that at one point, you know, I really wasn't, you know, too involved with my black brother as the black brothers weren't really too involved with Hispanic brothers. But now we sit here together, and the purpose of our sitting together is to teach and bring in brothers into this circle, bring them to the Lord. Point blank, bring them to the Lord. Because
12
now,
tribes, 12 tribes.
Because now we work for the Most High. We no longer work for ourselves. We work for a higher power. We work for the Most High, the Lord Almighty. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we were talking about the separation and how, you know, we saw how the Roman Empire took over because of Judah not being able to stay together. We saw how Judah's Maccabees also, the Greeks took over because they weren't able to stay together. We saw how the Spaniards took over the Aztec Empire because they also weren't able to stay together. You know what I'm saying? We saw how America came about and separated us by calling us Chicanos and Mexicans and separated us there. And today, we see another problem. We see how the war between Bloods and Crips and the gang violence in the Hispanic, the Sureños and the Norteños, and the little gang here and the little gang there and the street cliques and all this. We don't understand what a big problem this is because we haven't seen the big picture. But the big picture is that the war today is still on and going. But today, the prize for the white man is gentrification. This is what's happening to us today. Because we cannot come together, our neighborhoods that we grew up in, that as children, as kids, you know, some of us been living in the same house. You know, your mom lived there, your great grandma lived there. You lived there all your life. Now all of a sudden you're seeing your rent go up, your mortgage go up, your neighborhood being destroyed. You're being pushed out to the desert. You're being pushed out to areas that are not, you know, worked on yet, that are just barely coming out, because now the white man wants your neighborhood. New York, you can't live in New York. You can't live in Miami. You can't live in Los Angeles. You got to move out. Why? Because of our own ignorance, because we destroyed ourselves. Because Mexicanos, raza, we want to uphold the Cholo movement. We love the Cholo movement. All the hair combed back, the baggy pants, the tattoos, the whole Cholo movement. You know, oh, to us it's like, yeah, that's ours. But it never did anything for us. Killing our brother because you were from a gang and I was from a gang only allowed the white man to come in and see an opportunity to take your whole neighborhood. And that's exactly what's happening to us out here. Lincoln Heights, Boyle Heights, Highland Park, East LA, you know what I'm saying? Los Angeles, you know what I'm saying? Southgate, Compton, South Central, Linwood, Inglewood. These areas are in danger of being gentrified. Burbank, Pacoima, San Fernando, we're all being gentrified. We're being pushed out. We're being pushed out, and now we got to take our children to live in the desert. And the worst part is that they're pushing all of us into these areas. They're getting all the black folks that live in Compton and pushing them out to San Bernardino. They're getting all the Mexicans that live in San Fernando and pushing them out to San Bernardino. All the Mexicans that live in East LA and Boyle Heights and pushing them out to San Bernardino. And in San Bernardino, it's becoming a war zone. Because now you've got all these different people that didn't grow up together now being all put into one single place. And San Bernardino is actually named one of the worst places to be in California. It's a war zone. And you know what, Adawan? That's where our school is at.
I can, you can't, and I can imagine, but and the poverty that goes with it, pushing them all together, and then the poverty, you know, make you, you know, you turn against each other because they too strong to fight. Can't fight them; they too strong. They give the maximum time, but I can get away with hurting my brother. You understand? So we go to war with each other. Same thing in parts of Philadelphia. You know, in South Philly, you know, my daughter, she grew up in a certain school in South Philly, right? It was an all-black school. Drove past it the other day. My wife tell me that's an all-Edomite school now. You understand? Because they didn't moved on them neighborhoods and pushed, you know, blacks and Hispanics out. It was Issacharites used to live over there in that area in South Philly. Now that, you know, they didn't gentrify the hell out of it. Even parts in the North Philly. North Philly is the hood, the ghetto once upon a time. But again, they got Temple University over there, and they gentrifying all them neighborhoods, putting blue lights on every block, every corner, rebuilding them houses out there. And again, they've been not collecting taxes on black people for many, many years. And black people thought, oh man, they don't even collect taxes no more because it was the plot. And now they want all them many, many years of taxes back, and black people don't have it, so they got to leave. And that's part of pushing them out, gentrification, you understand? So it's happening everywhere.
Oh, absolutely, Ottawa. And we can see that happening in Puerto Rico also. Our Puerto Rican brothers ain't far from that. We're seeing how America, when Puerto Rico went through that storm, went through that earthquake, went through that hurricane, you know, America didn't help Puerto Rico. They didn't help them. They didn't give them money. They didn't send them anything, no kind of anything, any kind of help. And now that the place is destroyed, now they're talking about Puerto Rico don't have to pay taxes. You ain't got no taxes to pay. You can go over there if you're a corporation and build your business there, and you don't have to pay taxes. Let me tell you something, Ottawa. They're not doing that for the people of Puerto Rico. They're doing that for white folks can move out there with their corporations and their businesses, and they're taking over their land. They're buying their houses. They're taking it. And the sad part is, Ottawa, is that Puerto Rican people are being offered $50,000, $60,000. I'm going to go overhead. $80,000 for their property. And Puerto Rican people are thinking, oh, hell yeah, $80,000. And they're taking that money. And then they're coming to America and realizing that with $80,000, they are not buying any kind of property out here.
No.
You ain't going nowhere with $80,000. You're renting, and $80,000 goes real quick. God. Before you know it, you're down to 40, you're down to 50, you're down to 30, and now your dream, your American dream, has gone to waste because you ain't buying property out here. And then later on, in a couple of years, maybe 5 or 10 years from now, Puerto Rico is going to be a paradise. And those people who sold their property are going to realize I did the wrong thing. My land is now worth $500,000. My property that I once had is now worth $100,000. And I sold it for nothing. What is that, precept?
So which one?
The one where they think up little what is that? Man, what is that precept out of one where they say that they think of things to destroy us?
Where they meditate on mystery. They
meditate. Salaka. I was thinking of crafty counsel. Kasharwan gave me that right now. It's the crafty counsel, Ottawa. Crafty counsel.
Psalms 83.
Psalms 83, Ottawa.
Good.
And go ahead. I got Oscar Ward here with me, and he's going to read it for us. Go ahead, Oscar Ward.
So this is the book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones.
Man, they taking crafty counsel. Ottawa, they're sitting there in the White House. They sitting there in their table, and they're thinking of ways that they can prosper while we demise, while we're destroyed, while we're being sent to nothing. You know what I'm saying, sir? And this is their crafty counsel right here. What do you think about that?
You're right. Read on. Like, and that's, listen, once again, it's all been a plot. You know, that council is meetings. They sit and talk about us. Like black people think, you know, white people don't think about them at all. They do think about you. They think about us a lot. And Hispanics, they think about us. They think about how they can keep us subdued, how they can further oppress us, how they can get a tighter hold on us. So they have crafty counsel, and this is a heavy scripture. You gonna read on? You gonna,
Go ahead, sir.
You gonna read on? You gonna read more?
Go ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna let him read one more time. Go ahead.
Son of a concept. Verse 4, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
And that's your divide and conquer, they sit and plotted this whole thing out. Okay, we're gonna put them there. They grow rice. This tribe is good at growing rice. Let's put them over here. This tribe is good at growing fruit and pineapples and this and that. Let's put them over here. And they separated the tribes and renamed us. You understand that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Now the tribe of Judah calling themselves after two Edomites, Leo Scipios Africanus and Amerigo Vespucci. You understand? Puerto Rico, they named after a port that our oppressor gets rich off of. They call it a rich port. They name them after the port. You know, we get all these other names so that we don't remember we Israelites, and two, it separates us from being a family.
Khan, you're absolutely right about that. And you know, Ayar bringing it up, it's called Rich Port now. And you know, a lot of people don't even know that. A lot of Puerto Ricans don't even know that. They don't even think about it. They don't consider themselves. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem, that we don't consider ourselves a great people. And since we don't consider ourselves a great people, we're allowing another nation to dictate who we are, how we should be, how we should be managed, like they're managing us. I'm gonna say that as a nation, we in a corporate state of mind because the white man is our manager in everything that we do, how we live, how we eat, how we work. Everything is structured under the white man's opinion. You know what I'm saying? And that's because in this captivity, we live under his boot. Like his boot is always on top of us. Like we're all crushed by this white man's boot. You know what I'm saying, Ottawan? And that's why we continue to be this way. And it's something that, you know, we don't see it, right? But when you talk to a white man, you know, he's always talking about, the Illuminati. You know, he's always talking about, you know, what is that? The conspiracy theories, Alex Jones, you know, Alex Jones. And they're always talking about, these conspiracy theories and all these goddamn things. And we don't even see that that's happening right now to us. They're talking about, in the future, there's going to be this and this and this. They're talking about in the future, you know, they're going to oppress us. In the future, no. All that they're talking about is happening to us right now. Like we're doing this right now. We're the ones under oppression. We're the ones living out what Alex Jones has been talking about for the last 20 years. We're the ones living that right now. Alex Jones forgot to say, this is all going to happen to Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. Because if that white man would have said that, we would have all believed it. But since we're the ones saying it, it's hard to believe. Go ahead, Malagman.
Well, he didn't forget to say. He didn't want to say that.
Oh, God, absolutely. He didn't want to say that, Ottawan. He didn't want to say, niggas, spics, and savages, you going to be the ones that I'm talking about all this time. You know what I'm saying, Ottawan?
Good. And Esau loved to play the victim anyway. He on his movies, out of his mouth, he's always the victim, always being oppressed. White people feel oppressed if they can't fly their private jet wherever they want. That's oppression to them. I can't fly my private jet wherever I want. I need a license to do that. I need a permit. That's oppression to them. You understand? They ain't never hungry. They got a big mansion. You understand? But they feel oppressed if they can't, fly their helicopter whenever they want. You understand? And when hell, we just want the helicopter. You know what I'm saying?
Khan, Ottawan, they were being oppressed because they had to wear a mask. Right. Oh my God. They oppress. This is a conspiracy. They're making me wear a mask. Like, that was a whole mass plan for the government to oppress us because Miriam says, yeah, they killed themselves lockdown during COVID-19. Yeah, they should have killed themselves during COVID-19. Man, they should have overlooked themselves and destroyed themselves. But instead, they're out here planning. Oh, all of a sudden, they got enough time to start thinking, wait a minute, this is a conspiracy. They're making me wear a goddamn mask. And brother, we've been getting murdered, shot in the street, our jobs, our gentrification in our neighborhoods, deportation, our children in cages, our jobs being raided. My God, man, I could go a list of things that we could make a video for talking about this is a conspiracy theory. And yet none of us have come up with a conspiracy theory against Mexicans, blacks, and Native American Indians. What do you?
You're right. You're so right. You understand? You're so right. Like, once again, it's like, you know, they crying wolf. You understand? They crying wolf. You know, they act like they don't know what oppression is, man. They don't know what oppression is. I like when that brother said, Akkad made a video one time and he put this brother's voice in it, and the brother said, you know, ain't nothing else you can do to blacks and Hispanics. Nothing more you can do to hurt us. We done been through everything. We done been beat by you. We done been burned by you. We done been lynched by you. We done had acid poured on us by you. We done been hung and set on fire, families at a time. You know, it's nothing, no more you can do to us to make us afraid, because we done been through your worst. We done been through your worst, and we know what it is to be terrorized. We know what it is to be oppressed. You don't know, you understand? And, you know, and I thank the Lord for the knowledge of the ISUBK, because we know that he will know what it is to be, to feel those things soon. We know that he will feel what it feel like to be on the run, to be a fugitive, you understand, and to be captured. You understand?
Gone, Adawan, gone, absolutely. But you know, in part, Adawan, it's our own fault. And in part, it's because we've chosen to follow, man, even our own people, like, you know, us Mexicans, you know, your uncle gets out of jail. He was a gangbanger. Your uncle gets out of jail, and you as a young man, you look up to your uncle because he got incarcerated, because he was in jail, because he did time. And that's the thing that goes around. Even Judite brothers, they do the same. They start promoting, you know, oh, I did jail time. Like it's an honor to go to jail. You know what I'm saying? They show it as an honor. And us ourselves have caused the destruction of our own people. We've actually added to the poison that the white man's given us. We're just adding to that poison by adding these things that are meaningless, that have no effect on us in a positive way. Ayar, you actually right. The cartel lifestyle. You know, now you have this cartel lifestyle, and they promote it in music, in movies, in videos, and our young people are like looking at that as, okay, that's the cool, that's the new cool, right? And we're so blinded by the destruction of our own people because we've been educated like that we cannot see beyond the ignorance. You know what I mean?
Kind of the one kind. Once again, you're absolutely right. You understand those things are looked up to. Once again, the scriptures say, you know, they're turning the things upside down, shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. Like the potter is the creator, he's God. So they're turning the things upside down. People look at them and the way they have things right now, like they're God, and this is how things should be. But it's not. Once again, criminals are glorified. Murders are glorified. You got movies where the CIA is murdering and the FBI is murdering people and putting hits out on people. People they think going mess up their sting or mess up their bust or tell and uncover they undercover and it might get out. So they actually go murders. You know, they putting it out there and it's accepted that the CIA are a bunch of murderers, the FBI, and they're supposed to be, you know, they still the police, still supposed to protect and serve. But it's known that these people are murderers. They'll murder you. You understand? And so that's what this society makes us look up to. And like you said, the cartel, young Hispanics looking up to the cartel because they're tough and you can get what you want. and you could be this. That's looked at like a good thing. With Judah, you know, Ephraim also, you know what I'm saying, the drug dealer, the big drug dealer who will kill you that everybody's scared of. I want to get on his team. You know, I want to be a part of that. You understand? Like the raps, like Cardi B just made some video. Like she want to change her life. She hate the fact that she made that new video she made called Shake It. You understand? Well, all they talking about is murder and hoeing. You understand? And she regret making that video and regret all them other nasty things she did because she want to be a mother now. You understand? She want to be a mother. She got kids. Now she got the money. She got the fame. Now she get to look back on how she got it and feel ashamed now. You understand? And say, I want a different type of life. I want to be different because that's not the good. Of course, in this kingdom, those are good things. And they teach our youth to aspire to be drug dealers and killers and what they call them, goons. And I forget that new young word for hitman. But they want to aspire to be those things. You understand? When that's backwards, those things are destroying us. And if I may, like you said, another thing dividing us is once again, they pushing it out there for our women to be whores. You understand? Like the chick, Ari Fletcher, just had the video shaking her behind. Shaking, she had one butt cheek doing a big dance, then made the other butt cheek do some whole nother dance. Her son is right there, 3 years old, right there in the party while she wiggling her butt cheeks on some woman and some other woman smacking her on the behind. Her son right there growing up in that environment. So who you think he going to, like, that's his normal. You understand? But when he grow up, the woman that makes him feel comfortable and feel normal is going to be this woman like his mother, some whore. You understand? Which he'll get with and have babies by her, and the cycle continues, man. So they pushing the drug dealing, the murdering, and the whoring on our people like it's acceptable, but it is upside down.
Arwan, you're absolutely right about that. But you know, even though we do these things, Arwan, we don't realize that in the end we become victims. Like everybody does it, but we become the victims. Like white folks can do that kind of shit, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's great." But when a Mexican or a black sister does it, we become victims. You know, recently we had an incident, which is this week. What's the name of this? The cop.
His name is it's Saul Mendoza.
So Saul Mendoza is a police officer out of where?
Out of Philadelphia.
Out of Philly. Arwan, that's your neighborhood, isn't it?
Yes.
Out of Philly. And this officer, man, he's about to do heavy time because of an incident that occurred to him. But if it had been a white cop, this would be a whole different story. But we're about to read a little bit just so you can understand how wrong we are as Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, thinking that we the same as our oppressor, thinking that we the same as you know, as we've been saying. You know, it's been decades, centuries. It's been man, generations. It's been, man, civilizations where we try to do just as them, try to be with them. The Aztecs trying to be, or I mean, the Tlaxcalas trying to be with the Spaniards, the Israelites trying to be with the Greeks, and we trying to assimilate into a culture that hates us, and in return, we become victims.
Good.
We become the hateful ones. Go ahead and read that.
Oh, sir. Fired officer charged with murder and shooting a boy, 12.
So this officer has been charged for shooting a boy that's 12 years old. Go ahead.
A fired Philadelphia police officer has been charged with murder and the shooting of a fleeing 12-year-old boy who prosecutors said Monday was on the ground and unarmed when the officer fired the fatal shot.
So this young boy was on the ground and this officer fired the fatal shot. Who was that one brother who reached in for his candies and he was killed? Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin. This is the same incident as Trayvon Martin. The difference, the security guard, wasn't it a security guard who shot him was white. This guy is Hispanic. Go ahead.
Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner announced first and third-degree murder charges against former officer Ed Saul Mendoza.
Man, first and third degree murder charges.
And the boy he killed was an Edomite, right? I think I heard this story.
In Calcutta.
Go ahead.
The boy was an Edomite. Did this happen in South Philadelphia? Or does it say?
Well, let's continue reading, see what's going on. Go ahead.
In the shooting of Thomas T.J. Siderio on March 1st.
Absolutely. Thomas C.J. Siderio. Siderio ain't white. I mean, ain't Hispanic. I don't know any Mexicans named Siderios.
Right.
I don't know any black people named Siderio. It sounds Italian to me.
Yeah, that's one of the Italian kids. And I think South Philly, one of them Italian kids.
God, so go on.
Okay. On March 1st, saying video showed to the grand jury contradicts the officer's version of events. Police say the youth had first fired a shot at an unmarked police car, injuring one of 4 plainclothes officers inside. Mendoza, 26, was also charged with voluntary manslaughter and other charges, according to a grand jury presentment unsealed Monday. He had been suspended from his job March 8th with intent to fire. Court records show Mendoza surrendered Sunday and was denied bail.
Wow.
Rare treatment for former law enforcement officers facing charges.
Hang on there. So rare treatment for law enforcement officers facing charges. If that had been a white officer, there would not be no rare treatment. They would have gave him what he needed. But since it's a Hispanic brother, man, you're on a whole different page. You think you white because you wear a uniform. You think you white because you served in the army. You think you white because you served in some military rank, or because you had an office position, or because you work as a supervisor, or because you work as a manager. You think you white, but you're never gonna be white. You will always be the same. You will always be a spick, a nigger, a savage, because that's all they see us as. And this officer here is gonna find out real quick that that badge he's wearing is meaningless when you Hispanic.
It does not protect you from them. It does not. That badge, that uniform does not protect you from them. Hell, military soldiers used to come home, during World War II. Used to come home to racism and lynching. And if the American citizen saw a black person with a uniform on, soldier, see he in the military, see he soldier, they would try to kill him and murder him. They wasn't allowed to wear the uniform. They would get home and they would hurry up and take that uniform off. You understand? Because those uniforms and those badges don't protect you if you're black or Hispanic. I remember years ago, they tried to arrest a Moabite cop that killed somebody. And they tried to arrest him. Esau tried to arrest him, but then his country, China, stepped up and said, nope, with all the white people that get away with these type of crimes, you're not going to make an example out of our people. You understand? They fought that they not charge that Moabite. But who the hell going to fight for us? Who the hell going to fight for Mendoza? Who the hell going to fight for us when they do these things to us? Nobody.
Khan, Adawan, you're absolutely right. And what the problem is that we think we're part of a nation that we can never be part of. Like it's in them. It's the root of this nation to hate Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. And we'll never be part of this nation. And let me tell you, all of us who have been able to come into the ISUPK and be part of this truth, man, let me tell you something. We blessed because we've become aware of a situation that has existed forever, but now we're aware of it. And now we're speaking up like this brother don't even know. This brother Mendoza don't even know that we're actually speaking for him.
Good.
We're actually talking for him.
Good.
But you know what? They go into these ranks thinking that they're going to change, because I have a brother at work, and he's a Hispanic brother, and he was telling me, man, I'm going to join the police force. He says, I'm going to quit this job. I'm going to join the police force. I don't want to be working here forever. I want to join this. And I told him, brother, man, that's the worst thing you can do, man. Join the police force. I told him, now, you should really reconsider that position you're going to take, because what you're really doing is going into a job that oppresses your own people. His mentality when he answered me was, I'm going to make a difference for my people. I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna change how it is for my people don't have to go through that. Go ahead.
If I could, sir, I understand that, brother, because I remember when I was in the world, I remember that when I had that thought, I was in Mexico. And of course I was in the world, I was smoking weed, right? But I was in a state where I was letting go of weed. And I said, man, I would love to be an officer because I would be able to change my community. I would be able to stop crime, stop the bad people, and be like the hero. But I was in a world not understanding the depth of the reality of things. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of understand that, brother. I didn't know anything about the mark of the beast, nothing like that. I just thought you a police officer, you fight for justice. You know what I'm saying?
I got the brother Kamash who says they regard neither the old nor show favor for the young.
Yeah,
That's absolutely Kamash, man. They don't regard any of us. But let me tell you something. Here in the ISUPK, man, you actually do become a hero. You actually do become somebody. Here you actually gonna change people's lives, because here you get to speak about things that no one else would ever speak about.
Right.
You get to bring out facts that are overlooked by the regular everyday individual. But us, we get to really see things in a different perspective. And that's the difference of us and them. That when we look at things, we're looking at it in a perspective of the love for our people. And they look at it in a perspective of the love for our oppressor, for our people. So this is the perspective we're looking at. And let me tell you something. Perspective means everything. The way you see things has a big impact on who you are as a person. So when we see a perspective, let me tell you, I see a perspective all the time. I'll tell you the truth. I've seen this perspective before coming into this truth. I've always thought, man, my Chicano people, my raza, I've always thought like that. But then coming into the truth, now I realize that, man, all of us are in the same boat. My black brothers, my Native American Indian brothers, my Hispanic brothers, my Chicano brothers, we all in this boat together. We all got to see a change because we don't see it when we're in this world. We only see it when we're in this truth. Go ahead.
Con, if I can offer what the young brother just said about being a police officer and what you're saying about perspective. When I was in the world, I didn't think the police were good here to protect and serve. I thought they were evil and hurting us, but I still tried to join them. But I went to a suburban police force and applied for the police force there because I wanted to lock up little white boys. I wanted to lock up white people. You understand? So I went to the suburbs and applied for the police force and went and took their tests and all that. Of course, they probably just balled my application up and threw it in the trash as soon as I left. You understand? Because when I was there, it felt like they looking at me like I ain't supposed to be here. You understand? And I knew it. And that's why I was there. I was there because in my mind, I ain't supposed to be here. And I'm going to get in here and I'm going to show y'all how it feel to be harassed like y'all show us. But of course, they didn't let me in there. And now I look back and I see you can't change. Like the brother said, he going in there to change. You can't change a corrupt organization. You can't join a corrupt organization thinking you're going to change it. You understand? It's going to change you. Or you're going to be stressed out and die trying to change, Satan into good. The Lord said, who can make straight that which I have made crooked? You understand? You fighting against a force that the Lord made to be crooked. You understand? So, I know our people, we full of love and optimism, but, we fooling ourselves thinking we can join the police force and make them good. Hell, police is in the force now, or ex-police. They'll tell you, we fought against the racism. We tried to expose them corrupt cops, and now we fight without a job. You understand?
Right.
Khan, and I think that brother Mendoza is finding out the hard way that what you're saying is pretty much true, man. Like we can't go in there and try to be with them. And that brother Mendoza, man, he tried to be a good cop, but obviously, he's following the ways of his oppressor. Because if you'd have followed the ways of your own people, you would know that, you ain't just going to shoot nobody just to shoot nobody. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have some respect. But this brother obviously got caught up in the wrong way. And now he's going to feel, man, he's going to be an example for all other cops. Like, they're using this brother as an example. They ain't going to use no white man as an example. They're going to use this brother as an example. Go ahead, Oscar Ward.
So, Lucky, I just want to clarify, like, at the time, I knew about corrupt police, but I think I don't remember exactly what I was thinking, but I think I thought something like I would be a better cop than these other cops. I think that's what I was thinking. Like, I would be a better cop than them because they do a terrible job or something like that. I can't really remember. It was something along those lines because I definitely knew about corrupt cops because I remember a damn cop took me to jail, took me to county for jaywalking for no damn reason. So I definitely knew about these damn cops.
And I totally understand where you're coming from. Like, being an Israelite, being the brother that you were in the world, even without the truth, you had love for the community. So you figure if you join them, maybe they'll put you in the community and you'll show the people that we can be good officers, we can be kind, and we can look out. And there are officers like that. They make videos sometimes, little black officers. They come and play basketball with the brothers at the courts and different things. They try to put that persona, that some of us, are not murderers. And all of them might not be murderers, but you part of a murderous club. Don't look good on you. It kind of hurts what you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? And they're so powerful in their murder. You understand that, you really, it's damn near a losing fight. But I understand where you're coming from.
Kind of a con, sir.
Con, Ottawa. Me, as for myself, I was in high school, and one of my older brother, he was in ROTC, and he'd be telling me, "Hey, get into ROTC." I'd be like, "Hell no, I ain't never gonna get into no goddamn." I was like completely anti any kind of uniform. I never thought, man. For me, it was far from that. What I did do was get into that Mecha club, the Mexican, clubs and Chicano clubs. That's what I did get into, but into ROTC. And then my brother went out onto some ship because he was in the Navy ROTC. He got to go onto some ship and shit. And he showed pictures, and I ain't gonna lie to you. At some point, I look at those pictures, and I was thinking, man, maybe I should have joined because, man, he's looking all like, respectful. But my ass was never respectful. I was always like, hell, I ain't never gonna get out. And I think for a moment, I thought maybe I should, but then I came to my senses. And I said, fuck that. I ain't never going to get into this.
Yeah, they paint a good picture, boy. Some uniforms are sharp and creased. And, you know what I'm saying? I used to work down at Penn's Landing in the docks in Philadelphia when I was, in high school. And so, a lot of times we get to go on them boats to pull up, them boats with the sailors and all that. We get to go on and, go in their kitchen there. Listen, they got the best food on them boats, man. They got a whole kitchen and chefs and, you know what I'm saying? And that, seeing them come off there and they press uniforms and looking military and professional, and they sell you the commercials, boy. You jumping out of planes and ropes and all that, and swimming with machines underwater, breathing machines, and floating in the water, and it make you want to be a part of something, man. And they sell it good to our people, and so that's how they get a lot of our people, man. We in poverty, we in the hood. We tired of the drug dealing, the murders all over the place. We just want to get away. So we choose that, not knowing any better, thinking we'll be away from the drama and learn to be strong and adventurous and adventure in life. And so we do it, but find out who we working for later, man. And you know what I'm saying, and regret it a lot of times. We regret it. So, but I thank the Lord, like he stopped you, he stopped me, because the recruiters were coming to my house back then, trying to get me to sign something and join, and I just avoided them. You know what I mean? I tell them, all right, y'all gonna be here at 4 o'clock. I know I wasn't gonna be there at 4 o'clock. You understand? So, go ahead.
I remember my carnal used to come home with a dummy gun, and he used to do some kind of spinning shit with it and put it to the right, hit the left. And I'd be like, man, all I knew about that gun was I'm gonna aim it and fire. I didn't know nothing about that. Go ahead, Malaki.
Hey, Shalom, General, what's up? I just wanted to add, so I know that another reason why a lot of Israelites want to join these South military is because they go with the mentality that yeah, we're gonna join East House military. We're gonna learn all them warfare tactics. We're gonna learn how to fire a weapon. And so when we get out of the military, we're gonna, form our own revolutionary groups, and we're gonna use that to, against the oppressor. I know that's one of the reasons why I wanted to join East House military in the world. I thought I was gonna learn all that and use that against East House. And
God, absolutely. As for me, Arwan, I just couldn't, I couldn't swallow that pill. Tell you the truth, I couldn't swallow that pill. I used to see my brother come in with his uniform and his ROTC and his fake dummy gun and be out there practicing his spins and shit. And me, I was like, man, I'm trying to spin on these turntables. I ain't trying to spin on that shit. You know what I mean? Because I was just anti that. I was just completely anti that. I never was.
Right.
But getting back to the point, all this that we're talking about is just the way that they do it to paint a picture of something better for us. When in reality, through all that, like even my brother's thing, through all that, you still have to move out of our neighborhood because the rent is too high. You still got to move out of your place because you can't afford it. We still living in this poverty no matter what. We went and fought in World War I. We went and fought in World War II. We went and fought in Vietnam, in Korea, in Afghanistan, in all these Iraq, and we still came back to live in the housing projects, in the ghettos, in the low income, in the Native Indian reservations. We still came back to live in them. We died in all these battles, in all these wars for America, so that the white man could have a white picket fence, so they could live their glorious life, so they could send their children to the best universities and the best colleges, and for their children could prosper, and they could leave their their inheritance to their children. What are our children inheriting? Nothing. Our children inherit the same problems that our grandfathers had, our great-grandfathers had, our great-great-grandfathers had. We're inheriting nothing. All we get is all the garbage that America has dished out to us, while they live that American dream. They're dreaming. America is dreaming. America is dreaming that this place is going to last forever. America is dreaming that America is the greatest place on earth, and then it will stand the test of time. But that is a dream to them, equal to the dream that we have, that we're going to be equal to them living in America, working hard, getting all this and getting all that. Man, we're living in a dream. And it's really America's dream is the Latin American nightmare. The nightmare for all Hispanics, Salvadoreños, Guatemaltecos, Dominicanos, Puerto Ricanos, Cubanos. It's our nightmare.
That's right.
America has destroyed our country, has gone into Latin America, and has issued war amongst us, revolution amongst us, and has destroyed our people, robbed our natural resources, used us as their working hands, la mano de obra, for we could do the labor that they don't want to do, so that we can pick their fruit, so that we can feed their children, so that they can have breakfast on their table. And in return, we get poverty. We get nothing. We get the lower end of the stick. And my black brothers and sisters, they don't understand that ghetto money is not real money. Ghetto fame is not real fame. You know what I'm saying? That whole ghetto glitter, that whole ghetto bling and ghetto riches is not equal to what the white man's kingdom is. Because you can never participate in their kingdom. That is not for you.
You so right. What they feed us that, glam, to be glamorous and to look good and to have fame. They teach us that that's value. And so we kill ourselves, on these shows, trying to be the American Idol, trying to be the #1 top singer, trying to be the #1 dancer, trying to just be accepted. We just want to be picked to go to Hollywood to try to contend with everybody else. And when they say we're not passing you through, you wasn't good enough, it breaks our heart. It breaks our heart because that's all we want. We just want the fame. We just want to be seen. We want the love. We want the attention. When our oppressor, he knows what's real is the power, the wealth, the authority. He'll sit in the back and let you go ahead and be this little rapper or singer or actor or entertainer, while he making all the big dollars, and he give you a little piece of cut, little crumb, you understand? And mainly he give you that crumb, but he put your name out there. Everybody knows you. Everybody looks at you like, oh, everybody wants your autograph. That's all good, but when you go home and you want to get some property or some land, your bank account ain't looking good like that, but you are famous. You understand? You do have the prestige. Everybody wants your autograph. Everybody talking about you. You understand? But he knows true power is what really makes you powerful. You understand?
Absolutely. You know, today we got to sit here and talk about the issues of why we're divided and conquered, why we live the way we live, why we live in the poverty. But let me tell you something. Even though we live in poverty, even though we're divided and conquered, I wouldn't want to be ever again. If I had to live again, I would still want to live this life right here. I love this life. I love being ghetto, Mexican, you know, black, whatever. You know, my neighborhood right here, my neighborhood out of one where I live, my neighbor is black. The man behind me is black. The neighbors across the street are Mexican. You know, the neighborhood across the way, the whole damn block is Mexican. I'd be hearing parties of banda and norteño all night long, and I'd rather live like this. You know, this is the love. This is the way, the life I love to live, because this is the way it should be. And
can I get a scripture on that real quick?
Go ahead, Otto.
Can the brothers read Revelation 2 and 9 real quick on what you're saying? Revelation 2nd chapter and the 9th verse is heavy what you're bringing out, because that's the truth. You understand? Ain't no other life for me, because you know what I'm saying? I don't want to do nothing else. I don't want to be nowhere else. I want to be amongst my people in this hell, in the ghetto, until we get out of here. You can have all the riches and the glam and the fame, and you can have all that. You understand? If my people can't go with me, then I'm gonna be right here until my king comes back. You understand? Ain't nothing else for me. Read that. If y'all reading, I can't hear. You there, Kazak?
Let me see. Adawan, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, go ahead. Now let's read that.
The book of Revelations 2 and 9. I know thy works and tribulation and poverty.
Now this is heavy, our king saying. He's saying he knows our works, he knows our tribulation, and he knows we in poverty. We ain't rich, we ain't wealthy. You understand? Read.
But thou art rich.
But thou art rich, man. Christ is saying we steal the most valuable things on the earth. Through all the hard work we doing to try to stay alive in this world, to try to survive the police, to try to survive the Karens out here, to try to survive the white citizens that hate you because you speak Spanish. Just to try to survive in this place, the tribulation, all the trouble we go through, all the hell we face to try to stand against this truth and stand against our enemies, man. All the hell we face with our own families who think we crazy for standing with God so strong, and all the poverty we live in. Once again, we ain't got the top-notch jobs. You understand? We ain't got the big paychecks like Cardi B and all your rappers and your Jay-Z's and all that. We in poverty in America, but guess what? The Lord said we are still rich. We are still valuable. You understand? And we the most valuable thing on earth to the Most High. So ain't nothing else I want to be. You know what I'm saying? I'll take all that work. I'll take all the tribulation. I'll take the poverty if the Lord look at me as being rich, man. You understand? We storing treasures in the kingdom. You understand? So, this is a beautiful life to live. Go ahead.
Do you have more? Go ahead and finish reading.
That's all I wanted to get. That was the point. The point that through all these things, the Lord said we are still rich, which means we are valuable to him.
Khan, absolutely. And that's why I say, I wouldn't have it no other way. Just like you, Adawan, and just like the Lord says, man, This is our place. And to try to substitute it with our enemy's way of life could never make sense to me. It could never make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is where it's at. And now that we're at this appointed time, you know, where we're gathering together, where we get to experience our Judite brothers, our black brothers, our Native American Indian brothers, our Hispanic brothers, and we get to all come together like at the Passover and really come together and experience each other, man. This is paradise.
God.
This is glorious. This is what it really is. Like, we never knew
piece of the kingdom. There's a little piece of the kingdom. You understand?
Nonsense. This is a little piece of kingdom in this oppression, if I could say.
God.
In this oppression. Because even though we still oppressed, I still gotta go to work tomorrow. I still gotta get up 8 o'clock in the morning. I still gotta go slave. But tonight, this show, Adawan, and sitting here with you and with these brothers who come to this show today with me, and with all the brothers that are online, Sawab, Ryan and Miriam, the sister, and Bara, and the sister Edith and Shabar, and you know, all Ayar and all the brothers there, you know, Karak and everybody there, man. This is our little piece of the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? This is where we can gather. And I know there's a lot of other brothers and sisters there watching, and honor and glory to all of them, because we all get to come together and, you know what, and share this one thing that we all have in common, and that is realizing that this is what it's really all about.
God.
That right there, this is where we come together. And I'm sure that all the brothers and all the sisters who are watching this show today, we all saw each other at the Passover. We all got to share time together. Man, leaving the Passover is the hardest thing that I experience every year.
Me too. God.
You know what I'm saying? It's like the hard. And it reminds me, you know, as a Hispanic brother, it reminds me when I was young. You know, I used to go travel to Mexico every, you know, wicked ass Christmas and wicked ass New Year. But I used to travel to Mexico not because of that holiday, because out in Mexico, we didn't have the big Christmas tree. We didn't have the presents. We didn't have none of that. But it was just the spirit of coming together. And you know, in Mexico, we don't have, like on my grandfather's ranch, we didn't have street lights. We didn't have paved roads. It was all dirt roads. We had outhouses to go and take a shit and piss in. You know what I mean? Okay. We didn't have meat to eat every day. You know, but to gather together as family was the most precious thing that I ever experienced. It was something else. It was something that I never forget. Visiting my grandmother and my grandfather out there. I remember the nights there was no lights in the city, so you could see all the stars that ever existed up in the sky. The night lit up your night. The moon lit up the road. That was all there was. And you know what, Adawan, coming to the Passovers, man, it reminds me so much of those days of going to visit my grandfather. My grandfather passed away, and Lord be with him, you know, but it was something so incredible, like I can't explain it. And going to the Passover is that experience I get every year where, man, I'm going to go broke. I'm still feeling the financial burden of going to the Passover, Adawan, but it doesn't matter. You know, I made it. I made it to the Passover.
That's right.
Kasharwan isn't here, but I'll tell you, when we made it to the airport, the lady who took my ticket said, you know, your plane is leaving in 2 minutes. I don't think you're going to make it because that plane is already boarded. I said, I don't care. I'll take the chance. If the Lord wanted me to get to the Passover, those 2 minutes meant nothing. And you know what? Kasharwan made it to that plane.
Most High in Christ.
Passover.
Most High in Christ.
You know, Most High in Christ, that we made it. You know, because there was no way that I was going to miss that Passover, Adawan. You know, so many brothers that I saw, Sawap 1 West from up there in the East Coast. I got to meet that brother, you know, Tabakanaz, who got past his Hebrew Academy. You know what I'm saying? Malakma, who made his Hebrew Academy. You know what I'm saying? This brother from I don't know, New Zealand. I can't remember his name, but this brother from New Zealand who I met for the first time, and I didn't know who he was, but we got to talk and we got to meet each other. And man, it was something incredible. You know, Yashikar will tell you what it's like. Ayar will tell you what it's like. To go to the Passover to us Hispanics is something big, because we get to really, you know, come together with our brothers that we didn't even know, you know, that we would one day be as one again. You know what I'm saying, Ottawa?
I totally understand. I totally agree. You know what I'm saying? Well, one thing, we need to incorporate some of that music y'all like at the Passover too next time. You know what I'm saying? I don't remember hearing no, you know, Spanish songs. I know, you know, Issachar, Ephraim. I know y'all like certain songs too. You know what I'm saying? I know Judites like certain songs, but we should mix it up, man. I like to see y'all getting down on y'all, because I know one pastor I don't know if it was the Passover. It might have just been in Vegas. I think we were in Vegas at the Vegas barbecue, because you was doing some dance with your rib. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful, brother. You was doing that thing and she throwing it. I said, oh my God, this is the best thing in the world. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I love to see that. You know what I'm saying? I always loved Hispanics growing up. You know what I'm saying? I used to, you know, I knew one Hispanic brother, Young in the Truth, and I went and, you know, fortunately he was on the drugs, and we was trying to get him off them drugs, and went in his neighborhood. But I looked around at them houses and those open windows, and I could hear the music, and I could see people hanging out the windows. And then this is in Philly. I said, damn, I wish I knew these people. I wish I could sit in their houses with them, and you know what I'm saying? I wanted to be a part of their life. You know what I'm saying? And just, you know, never got the chance to do it. You know, never got close to nobody in the world, especially, and then in the truth, you know, it's been a minute, but I see y'all starting to come through, brother. And I want to see more of what y'all love. You know what I'm saying?
Con, Ottawa. Well, let me tell you, I'm a party person, Ottawa. So you don't want to invite me to that, because I'm gonna tear it up. You know, you know, Most High in Christ. This year we got one song in. You know, La Chona. I know a lot of the brothers got to see that. So we got a song in, and we got a little party on. But one day, Ottawa, you're gonna see us all out there. We're gonna be, you know, put a little liquor in us. We are ready to go. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. But Most High in Christ, man. I love the ISUPK, man, and I love this brotherhood, and you know, just being able to come together with everybody is such a great experience, something, you know, mighty for all of us, man, and all the brothers and all the captains and all the generals who have made this possible. Only the Lord knows how to recompense all of us for what we're doing here today, you know, because we'll never know the magnitude of what we're doing till that day comes around. You know what I'm saying, Ottawa? So as for today, we get to talk to our brothers and sisters and bring them into this truth so that they might share this glorious thing that we feel, you know, in ourselves, that we might be able to share with everybody. You know what I'm saying, Ottawa? This is something that should be put out there. Go ahead, Ottawa.
No sweat. I agree with you. I see who that your Kyle, your Allah, Banyashika. He said we did dance. They did the Lachana, huh? I don't know what the Lachana is, but I know it's beautiful. I wish I would have saw it.
Don't worry, Ottawa. You're gonna know what it is when you start hanging around with us. A little tequila will get you going all the way.
And I like some tequila.
You know, Ottawa. You know, we're close to 2 hours and a half of this show. I didn't realize we were so far in. I don't want to take. I know it's late out there with you, Con.
Yeah. It's about 2 a.m. almost here.
Oh man. Ottawa, man, it was a pleasure and an honor having you on this show with me. And I didn't know we were gonna have such a good time. You know what I'm saying?
Most of the water for the invite. I appreciate being here. And Tawada to all the brothers. Y'all carrying that camera so I can see the room?
Man, I got well, I'm on my phone, but I got Lahab in here. I got Oscar War. I got Malakma. You know, I had Sarwan in here too. We're all in here. But you know, we got Miriam. We got Yashika Banyashika. We got the Bob. We got Shawap. We got Ayar. We got Shamas. We got all these brothers.
I think Captain Mama Quad in here too somewhere.
I saw Captain Mama Quad too. You know, we're all in here, and it's just like being here with us today, because I know a lot of these brothers and sisters are on my show continually. But I'm gonna throw something at you real quick, Ottawa. I'm gonna throw an old book at you because I like bringing old books, you know. And it's Don Fernando de Alva Ixtlichotli, which is a descendant, right? A descendant of old Aztec king, and this man wrote a book in the 17 and 1600s, and his book is very precious because his book tells a lot of the history of the Aztec and Mexica and Chichimeca people. And I want to read a real quick piece of his book because I want you to understand how close we are to the Most High as Mexican people. And when people think that Mexicans are not Ishikarites, or we don't believe in God, or we didn't ever believe in God, I'm about to change your mind with the writings of this man. And this writing is very important. And it's in Spanish, so it's kind of, I'm going to translate it, right? And it says like this. First of all, it's called the Revelation of Samaria. That's just to begin with. You want? I'll read it. Just to tell you, it's called the Revelation of Samaria, and it's called the First Revelation. And it says like this: the Toltecs reached and knew about the creation of the world and how El Tloque Nahuaque created it. Now, the word Tloque Cahuaque in the Nahuatl language, which is the original language my people spoke after Hebrew, right, means the creator. That's what that word means. Tloque Nahuaque means the creator. And he says how he created, right, the world and everything else that is in it, like the plants, the mountains, the animals, etc. He says, just like that, he also knew how God created the man and the woman, and how the man descended to multiply, and to that he added a lot of fables. When we say a lot of fables, he's talking about all the biblical things that are spoken about. The parting of the sea, the Tower of Babel, all these things. It says, it's not for you to have fear, it says, because all the nations also have fear of the world. He says, and it is said that the world was created in the year of Sealtepotl, which is one of the kings that ruled in the ancient world of the Aztecs. He says, in that time, there was a great flood, and they called it Atonahuito. And Atonahuito means the year of the sun of the year the sun went away from the water. And it says, because it destroyed the world from the diluvian. And this is the story of the Toltecs that lasted until the end of that age in the first world. The way they called it, 1,716 years, that he destroyed every man to water and thunder and the skies and all the earth, and nothing was left. And they all went underwater, and so did the mountains. And I'm going to stop right there, Audubon, because there's a lot to read. But I just want to show you how this passage comes from an ancient book of the Aztec emperor, Alva Ichicochli. And he knew about the Lord. He knew about God. The Toltecs knew about the Most High. and about the Diluvian world and all that. And I just wanted to add that because I think it's important for people to know that in the inconvenient truth, I'm speaking about our Aztec people, our Mexica people, our Chichimeca people, our people of Anahuac. Anahuac is the original name for our land after, what's the name? No, the name of in the Bible of this continent.
Ashereth.
Salakia of Ashereth. They call in the Bible it's called Ashereth. We know it as Anahuac, but the Toltecs were the priests and prophets of all that nation, and they write about the Most High God, right, of the Creator and all that He did. And I just wanted to bring that out of one a little bit because I have a lot of books that I read, and you know I don't get a chance to really bring them out.
Listen, and again, a lot of that history, you know, we tried to hold on to through all the hell and the separation from our motherland. I'm sure Issachar tried to hold on to it at some point, you know what I'm saying, and kept some history of it, you know what I'm saying, just like Gad tried to hold on. Gad was wearing the fringes and the shields. Even black people in slavery used to sing about the chariots coming. So we used to talk about the chariots coming low to take us out of here. So, you know, the tribes throughout history and in our oppression, we tried to hold on to the little bit of remnant, you know what I'm saying, that trickled down with our generations, you know, from when we was Israel. We tried to keep that history, but again, eventually they beat it out of us, you understand? And from what I read, you know, and that's good that this brother found some records where, you know, somebody among the Aztecs talked about the Creator and what He did. But I also noted the Aztecs and the Mexica and all of them, they had a whole lot of gods that wasn't the Most High. You know what I'm saying? And so, and not just them, but, you know, the slaves also, Gad, all the tribes, you know, even though we keep a piece, a piece of our original history trickled down with us, you know what I'm saying? We didn't follow it like the Lord wanted us to, in other words. So the only thing the Aztecs was missing was the Spirit of Christ. You know what I'm saying? The only thing the slaves was missing is the Spirit of Christ. Gad, with the Spirit of Christ, brother, we can come together and be strong and powerful and run this earth, man. And run this earth. And you a great example of it. And all them brothers in that room with you are a great example of it. Sawap and all the brothers and the sisters, you know, that's tuning into your show. We in the ISUPK, we great examples of what the Aztec could be with the Spirit of Christ, what the Mexica could be with the Spirit of Christ, with all them civil rights marches with the true Spirit of Christ and the Black Panthers with the true Spirit of Christ. You know, we can be exactly what we doing today, following our King. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna let a couple of the brothers come in here and just salute you, sir, and give a good word. Go ahead, Oscar.
No problem.
Hey, shalom, General.
Shalom, mighty man. Yabba Shema Shabrakatah. Tawada for having me, King. Tawada.
Damn right. Kind of sir. Good to see you, sir. It's good to have a class with you. You know what I'm saying? Brother Malak might come up, sir.
God. Tawada.
Hey, shalom, mighty man. What's going on? Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you. Tawada for having me out. Tawada.
Hey, I understand. Why do you, General, always out of one, always an honor, sir.
Most time correct. Good. All right.
Hey, Shalom out of one. Yours Bukata is Lahab, sir. It's like my head's uncovered. And I just got delivery.
What's going on, Lahab? So why for having me, mighty man?
Hey, the water's be on the show, out of one, and Lord Lai, we see you at the Cali Cookout soon, out of one.
You know it. I'm just waiting on the date. That's all.
Bay Area, out of one. It's gonna be Northern California. That's what it's looking like. Lord Lai, we see you there.
Okay. No sweat.
Okay. How you doing though, sir? Everything good?
Yeah, I'm good, brother. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Rocking it out. getting it in. You know what I'm saying? Can't wait to the next event. Can't wait to the next gathering. All I do after a big event we have, I go home and can't wait to the next event. That's all. That's my life.
So we go. You know what? We go see you in Chicago as well.
Where? Say that again. Oh, Chicago. No sweat. No sweat. I'll definitely be there. I think that's the end of July, right?
Khan.
No problem. All right.
All right, Ottawa. Well, let me get back in here real quick. Just wanted you to salute all the brothers here before we go. But I want to thank you, Ottawa, for being on the show. Most High in Christ, we'd love to have you on the show again. You know, prepare another show, do this all over again. I'm glad you were here with us, man. It's an honor to have you on the Inconvenient Truth, Ottawa. It is an honor to have any of the generals here with us and representing with us, man. I'm pretty sure everybody had a real good, informative night tonight. You know what I'm saying? Because this was a real good show, Ottawa. One for the books.
Most High in Christ. Tawada again. It felt good being here. Tawada.
You know, Ottawa, we're going to be in Chicago for the Chicago Fire Weekend. We're going to be doing a lecture out there. Most High in Christ, that you might be able to make it out there with us. But it's me and Captain Asha Parayam and Captain Captain Kazazan, Salakia, Captain Kazazan. Captain Kazazan is going to be out there with us also for his new book, the new book signing and things like that. So we're going to be out there inviting everybody to come out there and take some time to go out to Chicago and join us for this fire weekend out in Chicago. Make plans. It's July 28th, I believe. We're going to be out there to be able to make this happen. Once again, Ottawa,
y'all you said yourself, Kakaza, y'all gonna be out there doing what? What are y'all gonna be doing?
So like I said, we're gonna be doing a lecture. I'm gonna be doing a lecture with Captain Asha Parayam. We're gonna be doing a lecture on Hispanics and Puerto Ricans. It's gonna be called Before Columbus. So we're gonna be talking a little bit of what we talked about here. I'm gonna bring out some heavy information about what we were like before the conquest, and just like today, that little piece I wrote about, you know, that we believed in God before they got here. You know, I'm gonna bringing out more information. That I brought out is nothing compared to what I have prepared for that lecture itself. You know what I'm saying, sir?
Just make sure, because I make sure with everything y'all teach, right? Make sure y'all don't leave the people thinking that is the answer. You know what I'm saying? To join the Mexica, to join these other things. Make sure in your teaching and showing how great we were before Columbus, just make sure you add in there how we should be. Like the only answer is you in the ISUPK. Make sure y'all just add that piece in there. That Spirit of Christ that's needed with every little thing. You understand?
You know, sir, I know that there's a Mexica movement. I know that there's an African Pan movement. I know that there's all these movements. But like I said at the beginning of the show, the unity of Black Hispanics and Native American Indians is only going to be found in the ISUPK.
You better know
this is the only place you're going to find it. This is the place where, like I said at the beginning, you know, the zeal and the knowledge is not with anybody. It's only with us. We got the zeal and we have the knowledge. This is where we share everything that no one else has. That's why this is the place to be. And Most High in Christ, that He's brought me here, brought my son here, Lahab, and brought all the brothers here, that we might be able to share it right here in the ISUPK. And that's what this is all about. So even though I speak about them, it's just a reference to let you know that we've always known about the Lord. We've always had a love for the Most High. We've always found that we are Israel. We are Issachar. We are the 12 tribes. The only thing is that we've forgotten who we are.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And with that, Adawan, do you have anything else to add, Adawan?
That's it. The water. Yabashima Shabakatom.
Adawan, the water for being on the show, Adawan. And with that, I'm gonna let Oscar Ward end this program with us. Go ahead, Oscar Ward.
Men of Israel, Majum, Barak,
Yabashima Shabakatom.
God dismissed.
The water. The next week is the Inconvenient Truth coming at you. The water, General, for being on the show with us, General Mayak. As always, go ahead and drop a link if you have a show, Ottawa, or anything you want to present. You can drop it now. If not, with that, we're going to end the show.
Well, of course, join Black Watch every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Commander General Yohana, myself, General Mahayan, General Hazayan, rocking it out. Also, tune in to Ask Ye the Prophets every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we go into many different topics, take any questions, answer it live. So that's it.
The water, Ottawa. Hopefully, we can have you back on the show again. For now, y'all watching the other brother. The water for being on the show. Ottawa. Until next time, Shalom, Israel.
Shalom, sir.
Shalom, Ottawa.